Got mine. I acquired some minor wounds to my thumbs in my previous training session. So I'm gonna take care of those as I'm getting ready to get into some recording. These are superficial wounds. Now I treat even petty wounds seriously. I give great care even to petty small wounds. Why? Because even a small breach of the skin, opening the skin, can lead to infections. So we start with some measurements here. If you've been watching my other videos, see my new knife, which I actually can recommend to people that are looking for a good knife. A compact, small, rugged, durable weapon knife they can use as a tool as well. This is the cold steel leather neck mini. And I really like this knife. Worth the investment. Comes with a secure X sheath. Here it is, side-by-side comparison with the Fiskars K40 utility knife. And compare and contrast these two. Well, first of all, comparing the size, you can see the size difference. Focusing most on the length. The Fiskars K40 is just a little bit longer in total. Unsheath this one. If you go finger guard to finger guard, you can see that the blades are close to the same length. Now this is a better blade for weapon use. This is a better. This is more niched for light carpentry work, sharpening sticks or cutting string, opening bolts, something like this. This is more suitable for weapon use. This might be my favorite knife so far that I've owned, as a matter of fact. This cold steel leather neck mini. Now, what I'm not really loving about is the name. Okay, I get particular about things, so I might have to rename it. So I just don't like the feel of the name leatherneck. Okay, it might become quite tasty if I say it enough times. It's like it rubs off on me and I start liking it. Now, what I don't like the name leatherneck. Okay, so I call it a mini dagger, which is more accurate than the model name. Okay, so what I call it, that's more accurate as far as I'm concerned, because it's a mini dagger. So it's more descriptive. It's more accurate. So it's like leather neck. It's more like a give a name. This is more descriptive of a name that I'm giving. It's a mini dagger, and I didn't give it that. That's what it is. So that's why I'm calling it that. So this is a mini dagger. Mini short for miniature, and it's I've had enough experience with it to give a court opinion, court assessment, and it's a good knife. I like it. This is my newest knife in a very small, very low budget collection. If I wouldn't put that in front of the term knife collection, I would be greatly overselling, like making it sound like I got like a big okay a knife. I got a knife collection, and it's like maybe 4 knives. So anyways, the point. It's a cold mini leather neck. I really like it. It is cross shaped, which deals with what we're getting into, what we're going to get into. This like some decoding the matrix system, the world system. And part of this matrix world system is pop culture, movie, visuals. Okay. Visual art, we could say. As opposed to auditory art, which is music. Okay, listen to on radio. So possibly go to the right console wait for that you can see the music, but that's a different topic. Okay? You can watch a podcast for more information about this type of stuff. And then you can go through the archives if we just talk about something like that, I'm sure. So, staying in my lane here, knives and decoy. So here's the point. This is the cold steel leather neck. And I might have to send like a letter to the editor, long, windy letter from like a okay, about the name. And I keep it on pen pass with like a market department to get blocked on the Gmail or something like this. But it's like, hey guys, could you change the name on the leather neck? Next time, can you like just stop printing leather neck on the blade, please? Okay, I want to buy another one, and I'm just like, I don't want to have to like file it off myself. Okay, so I'm being facetious. There is not that big of a deal, but to give like an honest precise assessment, my review of the knife. I really like it. It's a good knife. It's a quality. It's rugged. It's strong, which is important for a thrusting weapon. And this is well suited for thrusting attacks. So one of the best. If you've been subscribed to my channel for a long time, you know that I've been talking about before I got a dagger. That is, far as I'm concerned, one of the best weapon knives you can get is a dagger. Why? Because dagger knives typically are designed to pierce well, which means stabbing attacks, thrusting attacks to easily slide into the body. They're good at achieving penetration, just the design of the blade. There's less resistance, okay? And we're not going to get bogged down in those details. But basically, it slides easily, into what you want to slide into. Uh, I noticed this in training where I've used a do-it-yourself training device before. Ball and string and supplement ball and string where I got a hard plastic empty neck supplement bottle, punctured it, and put a belt through it, suspended from the roof, and I used it for reflex training, knife fighting training. And I wasn't even like trying. So there's a way where you're like your body intelligence, you're generating force that is it's like there's a difference between like point fight, like sparring, kind of going like for this, or you're doing shadow boxing, you can do slow. But when you do the technique and it's like you're really trying to go deep into something, there's a difference. And I wasn't doing it like that. I was like, I'm trying to step into the bottle, like I'm trying to come out down the side or something like this. I was just focusing on connecting, like touching with it and succeeding in connecting with the bottle while it's moving around in a more or less erratic manner, unpredictable, erratic, which makes it good for training. What makes it good for training? It moves unpredictable and erratically, meaning you're hitting it, and it's not like on rails where it's like you hit it from the front, it's going to go straight x y axis, straight back, and like this. No, if you hit it, even if you hit it straight, the pattern has purposes. Like I said, you can hit a little bit not straight, but if you hit it straight, it might still hit a little bit to the side of the bottle, and it goes instead of straight back, goes here, okay, and then comes back and swings like this, and it might swing like this, and it kind of bounce off of this. So that's on top of that knife fighting. That's a good training form. That's a good thing you can do for knife fighting training, as far as I'm concerned. You suspend your ball or string. Okay, I use them for boxing training too, and that's one of these simple training things for solo martial arts training that you can train all kinds of stuff with. Simple, a string and a ball, or a string and anything that you can attach to the string that you're not concerned about causing damage to. Okay, which could be a tennis ball, it could be a supplement bottle, an empty bottle. Okay, if it's filled with liquid and you have it in your kitchen and you might be stabbing it, it's like the liquid will be outside the bottle and elsewhere in your kitchen. So it's important. Um, and you can use that for all kinds of stuff. I used it for boxing. So what does it do for you? If I'm shadow boxing, fixed range, fixed distance, that can do something for me. If I do impact training, hitting something, my techniques, then it's also doing something. Now, having this suspended on a string from the ceiling, I hit it once, it moves away, it moves towards me, I can practice dodging, see? Where it's not imagining, where it's like you got a line on the floor and it's like you're doing the footwork and like leaning, things like this. No, it's actually something coming for you that you're making not hit you, see? which is closer to the actual thing of something flying at your head and making it miss. So it's not imagining, it's not like a line on the floor and stepping to it or a ladder or something like this. It's actually something it's like swinging at you, and like instant, immediate feedback if you were successful or not in hitting it. Or so it's not shadowbox. I'm imagining guy's jaw, like I'm hitting his jaw right now. No, it's something moving and touch. I feel the tap my knuckles. I'm hit. I hit it. So it's just immediate feedback in your actual position, practicing hitting the thing. Like hit, 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 hit. Okay, you know if you hit it, and you know if you're hitting and making it miss too. Meaning you hit it once, flies off, comes at you, make it miss, counter it. Okay, you can even time it where it swings over your shoulder, swings back, and you counter it as it says. You can practice pivot, where you hit the ball or the ball or whatever you got for training, swings away from you. You can practice, and also you can practice so many things with it. You hit it, swings away. You can practice ducking under. You can practice moving to the side, whole body movement, head movement. So your head is attached to your body. So one way to do head movement in boxing is to move your whole body. If you can move your whole body fast enough. If you move your legs, you move your body, your head is attached to your body. So body movement is equals head movement. Okay. Unless you're like balancing it out by you move your body here and move your head here. Okay. So you can keep the head in the same position. Now, if you're moving quickly to the side, like jumping to the side, your head is attached to your body, so your head is going to move to the side. So that's the point. Get into that cold steel knife. I really like that. It's a good knife. So here's the point that I was working towards. I've noticed experientially how well this pierces, contrasted to other knives used in training, by having this hard plastic. So a shampoo bottle would be soft plastic. Okay. Now this supplement bottle is hard plastic. And had it on a string, and I started practicing with this tap tap, and it's just effortlessly slides into it, and it's filled with holes. Just tapping it, and it just creates holes in it. And like, to a point where I noticed the difference from using other ones where it doesn't really create holes that easily. It's just more like bounce off, something like this. It's so light, so it doesn't give a lot of resistance. It's like the amount weight, okay? So if it's not a good piercing tip, a supplement bottle is more likely to bounce off, say, where this is slides in. So, what makes a dagger one of the best fighting knives, fighting knife designs, generally? Not talking about brands now, but the dagger type of knife. It's good for piercing, and one of the most viable attack methods in knife fighting is piercing, like thrusting, stabbing. Okay, why? Because it's easier to get deep in the body with stabs than with slashes. See, so if I hold the knife like this in reverse grip and I slash across the chest off like this, it's harder for me with this knife to get to your heart by slashing than by holding it here and thrusting. See, it's easier for me to get deep in the body with stabbing attacks than slashes. So one of the ways that stabbing attacks can be better than slash attacks is how much easier it is to get deep in the body. And the vital organs are more or less deep in the body. So you want to get to major blood vessels. So what are some of the things you're trying to accomplish in knife fighting if you fight somebody with a knife? Massive blood loss, like serious blood loss. Rapid blood loss, okay? Like serious blood loss. Like quickly making the person lose a lot of blood. Okay, bleed profusely. Uh, Puncturing vital organs, like puncture wounds, okay, creating damage, getting into vital organs, getting into lungs, hearts, the heart, singular. I hope you don't have two hearts, okay, like two heart or something. Yeah, so getting into the lungs, the hearts, the livers, the organs, basically, getting into organs. You heard about the liver punch before. If you haven't, you can search boxing liver punch. Somebody's you see some guys showing off the effects or in boxing matches. Somebody lands in, and you can see the effects of boxing coaches talk about it or something like this. So Imagine like a stab to the liver. Okay, that's a lot worse. That's a lot worse. I'd imagine it will have more of a dramatic effect on it being stabbed in the liver, being punched in the liver by the best boxer ever. Do you understand? Meaning, I don't know, if my girlfriend was like a petite frame, cute little girl, if she would stab me with this in the liver, it probably hurt me more than Mike Tyson is punching me in the liver. We talk about like how it would affect me this 10 seconds after that technique was delivered to the same area. So, and also it's like, well, the liver being punched in the liver is like, yeah, there can be a delay effect, knockdown. So liver punch causes a knockdown. Okay. So there's knockouts and knockdowns. So a knockdown in martial arts sometimes is something that makes the person drop to the floor. Or should be clipped to the jaw and not going out, but just the legs give out, but no loss of consciousness, knockdown. Okay, it happens sometimes. So they clipped in the jaw. If they get asked that, did it go out? No, it's just my legs gave out. Okay, so um, and it can be an argument to make if they had like a micro, like narcolepsy, people have sometimes to go out for like a millisecond and they're not even aware. Okay, so it's micro sleep. But there's something called micro sleep too. Or if you don't sleep for a long time, it's like your brain can be up, just like a reboot like for like a millisecond or something. So here's the point. Yeah, so being punched in the liver uh, effectively can affect you badly. Being stabbed in the liver. Oh, I don't think I have to work hard to make the argument that being stabbed in the liver by anybody is worse than being punched in the liver. So if you understand what a liver punch can do to a human, what a liver stab do to you is worse. So there can be a one of the ways the liver punch can affect is you get hit with liver, you go down. This happened in box a lot of times. Brian Garcia versus David Haney, I think it was the fight, where Garcia got dropped by a liver shot. And a lot of times with liver shots, if you have watched boxing matches, there'll be a delay. So it's like if a person get hit, a lot of times if they go out, it's like the same moment that they get that the punch connects pretty much. It's like they get hit with something and the punch that knock them down or out. It's like as it lands, you can see the guy like, goes down. But a liver punch, it can be like a interesting delay effect. It's like they get hit in the liver with a bar shot, and it's like they're okay for like 1 2 seconds, and it's like suddenly they like drop down. So yeah, being punched in the liver bad, being stabbed in the liver bad or okay, see, with a capital R on it, possibly like all capital, like bad with 3 exclamation marks end of it. So um, cold steel mini dagger. Okay, I don't like the name. That's the one thing I don't like about the product, the name. Okay, the mini leather. I just don't like how it rolls off my tongue. I don't like the feel of the name leather. That's it. I get particular about things, but I don't like the name that they put on it, the leather neck. That'll be the one thing. Now, a name is not something. A name is something that is like your free will symbol. You can choose to use the name that somebody else picked for it or not. So they might call it cold steel leatherneck, and I can refer to it as the cold steel mini dagger that I bought. See? And I think I like that more because it's just that's what it is. So this is the so-called mini leatherneck. I would call it the mini dagger. That's what I'm calling it. So it's a miniature dagger, as you can see. And I really like this. I really like this. And they have the steel type printed on this side on the blade. And it's pretty small, like the fine print of it's like a fine letter Bible, like a small print Bible, but the smallest print you can get pretty much. So yeah, this is a good knife. Fighting knives, the dagger type of knife is, as far as I'm concerned, if I had to pick one, I would say it's the best fighting knife design. Now it's a little bit more training intensive for it to kind of to capitalize on its full advantages. Okay, um, it's kind of like you unlock the full use of it by training the use of it. Like for example, now here's another thing: you don't have to. Like it's more dangerous to you and your opponent if you fight with it. There's more ways to get hurt. So now here's the thing: what makes a dagger uh, one of the best, if not the best, fighting knife designs? First of all, it pierces well. So this shape of a metal object translates to penetration, translates to good piercing, typically. There's less resistance. So there's a smaller tip, it's narrow, and it progressively thickens. So we don't have to get into details too much. Now here's the thing too. I bought a I bought a throwing knife once, kind of off the thumb. It was off the price off the thumb or somewhere. And I attached it to one of my dude's self-homemade spears, which I also use for martial arts training. And I had a tip on each end initially. So I had a carpenter knife. I made a dude self spear, okay? Kind of as a hobby and then also make a more spear that I can use for martial arts training. But just the making thereof is like a enjoyable process to me. Making stuff, building things, creating things, optimizing, augmenting. Now, a utility knife at the end of it. So, by the way, on the topic of that, um, I really shouldn't. It shouldn't be that if you're going to teach people how to do something, or build something, you have to get blueprints out and charts and 10-step instruction with videos and stuff like this. It's like the people. Is it just me, or is it a lot of people lost the ability to be able to learn from verbal instructions only, like simple things. There's like a lot of people that's like they require to be like, well, you can make a video. If you make a video, you explain me how to do something. Like you make a video showing or something like this. Now here's the point. I'm not gonna do that in this video. I'm chained to the desk right here. I got like a ball chain and I'm locked in mentally. Okay, I put like a ball chain on my feet. I'm gonna stay at this desk until I got done what I want to get done. So that's the point. I got a utility knife. How I made my homemade spear. Okay, got a broomstick from a Swedish company called Rusta, I think it was called. Way back. Okay, I was still shopping. Got a broomstick, brought it home. Bought a utility knife in the same store, like a carpenter utility knife. Uh, some string, which could be like a shoestring or like this hemp cord you can buy for packages. Some kind of string. I had hot glue at home and duct tape. So really, I could have made it with just a knife, a broomstick, and duct tape. Okay, with those three things, use these three things right. Okay, utilize these three objects right. You can get a quality enough spear for single use home defense purposes, for example. Okay, like one time using it as a weapon, or just having it and storing it, and you could use it several times if you build it to redundancies. I can build it, but don't expect like a homemade spear using all those things to like last your lifetime of martial arts impact training or something like this. So if you look for something like that, they got cold steel spears where they have you can buy the whole set where it comes with like they have more spears. So this type of homemade spear I made, obviously I didn't build it to withstand cavalry shoulders. Okay, like in their pike and shaw, for example, that were in the Middle Ages, where they used like huge spears in effect, or halberds for this, and they had them in the ground and brace, and then cavalry would be coming, light or heavy, like rushing it, and you plant your spears and like brace for impact, and then the horses will be impaled on the spears. Right, still, it's not magic. It's like there's matter in motion, momentum. So even if you like poke a hole in that horse, it's like all that weight is still moving forward at the moment of it's being pierced by the spear tip. So anyway, support. They also have Chihuahua free and states they're putting around things like this. So we're getting carried away, okay? So the point is this. What makes a dagger a good knife? It's good for stabs, okay? It's easier to stab through clothes and stuff. A dagger profile blade slides easy into the body than a lot of other uh, blade profiles, blade shapes, basically, if you look just at the shape. Now, the point I was making with the homemade spear, it's like a broomstick, wooden broomstick, like a replaceable broomstick. Uh, just a wooden broomstick. And then any type of knife. This is how you can make your own homemade spear, by the way. You get a broomstick, a utility knife, duct tape, and ultimately some string. So that would be additional. Ultimately, you have some other stuff. So it's better if you use hot glue, string, and duct tape to attach the knife to the wood, uh, stick. Okay. Now, if all you have is duct tape, like a full roll, and you use that whole roll and then use the duct tape right, you can make a secure knife. You use it as a weapon at this point. Okay. So anyway, here's the point. All you need to make your own do-it-yourself homemade spear is a broomstick, roll of duct tape, and a utility knife. I would recommend a folding knife for that. Okay, but pretty much any knife will do. And that's a simple way to have an effective home defense weapon, by the way. So if you live in Sweden or some other places that kind of mirrored in the laws about weapons you can have legally at home. We're not getting into what you can legally have at home, but illegally, what is by local laws regarding self-defense use weapons all times. That's my disclaimer. So maybe the Philippines, Germany, or uh, Japan is similar, where you could have like a spear possibly at home, but not in public. So that's the point. A home defense weapon for people living in places like Sweden, where the average Joe can't legally acquire and keep a firearm at home for self-defense. One of the best weapons that you can create or acquire some other way, commercially, manufacture or acquire uh, by purchasing it online, for home defense is a spear. Why? Primarily due to the range advantage. I'd say the main advantage of the spear, especially in terms of home defense, is the range advantage which it provides you. And I've talked about this before. I made streams training with and demonstrating it. But basically, allow me to, I'm going to demonstrate it too. Sometimes it's better to show than to tell. If you had the ability to show, like if I got sit and talk about a technique, hey, there's a technique I'm gonna tell you about today. It's called an overhand right, and it's something that can hit real hard if you land right way. And I've trained it a few times. I've thrown it, and it's kind of you throw it from behind the back over the shoulder in a circular way. Like it's better if I can show it than try to explain it. So I'm gonna demonstrate to you why a spear is superior to a knife or other weapon for defense. So not only did I teach you how to make your own spear for home defense, which could save somebody's life watching this. Like if there's somebody watching this that is like if you had a time machine that's gonna have like a crack and make into a hole in their mouth try and kill them some of this. If they have any defense spear, for some people that make a difference in life and death. So this is a telescopic mop, floor mop, which I use for cleaning floors. Now I've also used these for martial arts training before, for stick fighting, uh, quote unquote kendo training, training sword fighting, shadow boxing, since it's in impact training. And it's good because I can adjust the length and it's strong enough, this relator broom handle, to withstand some impact before breaking, especially if it's like straight force. Now, you could create a spear from this simply by getting any, this is a fish scars, K40,
by getting any cheap utility knife or even a kitchen knife, like a big butcher knife, any type of knife that has a narrow tip, which means it's good for stabbing. Basically, it's the thrust you're going for. You're not going to be using it like a kung fu movie, where it's like you're hitting, you're cutting, slashing with it. Really, that's also more training intensive and more like you have to get the skill there, or get the blade alignment right, and be effective to hit with the edge to begin with, especially if you have it on a round pole like this, and you're wheeling it around and like hitting it and like actually connecting with the cutting edge and not the broad side or the back or something like this. That is easier said than done, especially if you have a design that I was talking about how to make that. It's strong enough for thrust like this, but it's not as strong for force applied like this. Like if it starts, okay. So anyway, that's the point. How to make a do-it-yourself spear. If you have something like this, a Veleda telescopic broom handle, or a broomstick, wooden broomstick at home, that goes on one of these brushes you use to uh, brush the garage floor or something like this. Basically, all you need to do is figure out a way to securely attach this, securely enough, attach this to the end of the stick. See? And if all I had was duct tape, and I held this here, and then rolled duct tape around, wrap it tight around several laps, that would make it strong enough to be able to stab with it. Okay. Now, a stronger design is if you get this here, you get a glue gun. You got the glue gun on the desk heated up. It will take some time to heat up before you can use it if you use a glue gun before. It's not like you plug it in and start squeezing the glue gun trigger. So it's like you have it preheated, ready to go. You have everything ready here. You attach glue to the receptacle, meaning the stick that's going to receive the blade, the knife handle. Hot glue, you can think you're squeezing hot glue, and I had to work quick before the hot glue solidifies, okay, due to the temperature decrease. Hot glue on here, squeeze and hold now. Squeeze and hold, squeeze and hold, squeeze and hold, squeeze and hold, squeeze and hold until the hot glue has set. And also, if you use a hot glue gun before, a trick is that you can blow on a little bit. Now, it doesn't make really enough of a difference to justify the extra effort and make yourself get out of breath and things like this. So basically, you attach, and if you use a hot glue gun, you're melting some kind of plastics. You should have a well ventilated area, like under a fan or next to an open window, something like this. So ensure good ventilation if you work with anything that puts out toxic fumes. Okay, so the more secure way, so simple way to make a do-it-yourself home defense spear: stick, utility knife, hold it, duct tape, and then roll the duct tape around there. A more secure way to make a stronger spear, a better weapon, is you have a glue gun, roll a duct tape, often with shoestring or some kind of paracord or something like this, okay? You heat up the glue gun, you apply a generous, like liberal amount on this weapon, a liberal amount of hot glue to the stick. Get the knife handle, squeeze and hold without gluing your fingers. Okay, so you squeeze and hold it still, and you line up so it's gonna be the way you want it to be lined up when it's finished. Okay, after the glue is set, now you can apply more hot glue easier. Like you already set it like kind of half attached. Okay, and you can go around and fill gaps with hot glue. When you've done that, so okay, now you can get string, the shoestring, for example, or whatever you have, paracord, and wrap that tightly. And I would recommend that you double wind it, okay, which looks like what? It will look like you have a string, you tie it like this, and then tie it like this. So you're not just going like this. You tie it, you can call it double tie, okay? So hot glue, knife on, string, tie a shoestring around it or a paracord tightly around it. More hot glue now around the strings is similar to work with concrete. We have rebar, some kind of thing that's liquid, starts up in liquid, then sets and hardens with something else kind of sandwiched in. So it's similar to in process. If you look at it, kind of low resolution, it's similar to like rebar concrete. Okay, it's hot glue string, hot glue string, and it makes for a strong construction. So the string in of itself is sufficient to give secure attachment. Just shoestring of itself or paracord wrapped around here the right way, tie it. It's got to do something to keep it attached to the blade. The hot glue of itself is doing enough to keep the blade there. Just hot glue attached. Okay. Now we're not talking about it. We want to have it be attached there just to look at it, but it's going to be subject to force, which means you need to build to redundancy. You need to build it to more than just keeping the knife on the stick statically. It's going to be delivering receiving force. So basically, how to make a do-it-yourself spear: get a broomstick, hot glue here, attach your knife, whatever knife you picked for the product. Now you're waiting for the hot glue to set. Once it's set, you get a shoestring or paracord or some hemp rope, some kind of string or rope, tie it tightly around here. More hot glue. So kind of glue the string that you tied around there. Okay, more hot glue. And then the last layer is duct tape. And with these things together, you can create a really secure attachment. I have a home defense spear. I'm going to show it to you. And then we get into the philosophy of use. Here is a here's a sawed-off weapon. See, it sounds more illegal before I reveal it. Okay, I conceal it, then I reveal it. So here, this is a sawed-off spear. Okay, I sawed off the stalk of my spear. See, but it sounds cooler than what it is. But it is a sawed-off weapon because it started out being long and I sawed it off, and I used it for a different do-it-yourself like crafting hobby product. I needed like a piece of wood stick. Okay, so this started up being longer. You could call this a hand and a half spear if you wanted to. So this is a short spear, shorter than it was initially, but still it has good range to it. So even with this, after chopping it down, and I can make another spear from this. And one of these, the advantage would be you can adjust the length. So you could have it be this long or longer than that long. Okay. Now you're giving up some strength. Okay, it's not going to be as strong. It can be strong enough. Now, the main advantage of the spear from defense weapon, and why I say this is one of the best weapons. So there's people out here that are looking to be able to defend themselves and have home defense weapons. And they haven't thought things through. They don't have that much experience with melee weapons, making them use them since it is, or thinking about the home defense strategy. So it's like a shortcut. Watch this video. One of the best home defense weapons is a spear. It's better than a baseball bat, as far as I'm concerned. It's better than a machete. It's better than a tomahawk, like a tactical axe or something like this. It's better than most things. Okay, so if you go looking at like a online weapon store they have in Sweden, like Tackle Store, Fun Stuff, or one of these websites, Fritid och Prylar, one of these outdoor websites that have like axes, machetes, spears, whatever. Like if people say, well, maybe I want to get a weapon for home defense. Okay, if you start to think about that, I count that positive. Like if you're a man and you're interested in being able to do violence to defend yourself and loved ones, that checks a box for masculinity, core masculinity, which a lot of men now are not in touch with the masculinity. A lot of men have been effeminized. And if you're unapologetically masculine and not holding back, a lot of people give you heat about it. Meaning when I make videos like this, talk about martial arts, self-defense, training, teaching, tips and tricks stuff. Sometimes I have people coming by in the chat that are like, "Larkin being Christian," or like, "Mike, you're being a bad Christian because his violence turned the other cheek," or something like this. Jesus told his disciples, which means followers of him, like pheneric or like sold out to Christ. Okay, they weren't like going to see Christ once a week on Sunday for an hour, and he's playing the harp for them, and they suffer him. See, that's not the relationship they have with Christ. They didn't go 1 hour every Sunday. These guys, see, Christ had followers, disciples, okay, being taught by him, and he followed them. They followed him. And notice how their relationship was different from contemporary Christianity, where they didn't spend an hour a week getting on a special clothes. Want to go see Jesus, everybody. Put on Sunday best. Remember not to cuss around the guy, everybody. Okay, change our behavior now. And for an hour sitting like Jesus is playing the piano there, and then there's some music and lighting going on. And for an hour, it's like, yeah, I can bear this for an hour a week or something like this. See? See? So, no, he had people who were following him everywhere he went. Okay. And he told them get swords. He that has no uh, sword, basically told him to sell other stuff he didn't have buy a sword. And they came back like, here's 2 swords. He said, that's enough. Okay. Unified. So yeah, I'm not going to get carried away in that. Part of masculinity is it's like I shouldn't have to defend it. Okay, I am unapologetically into like real masculine stuff. Weapons, training wooden music them. I like weapons. See, I like weapons. I like armor. I like training with weapons. I like martial arts. I don't like oh I need to change my life so I become more of a homeless, weak little sissy boy. I said, I'm too strong. I got too much testosterone in my body. I feel too physically powerful. Okay. I'm too fast and hard, and I can move too fast. I can fly through the air with a spear in my hand and close the distance quickly and put this off. I want to put it in. I'm too athletic and like too much like the guys at 300 maybe in terms of how I can move my body. It's like, yeah, I need to work on lower my testosterone, getting weaker, softer, and more out of shape. Okay. See, that would be the weird mentality. Not like, yeah, I'm a young man, I'm strong, I like weapons, I like martial arts. It's like, I like this and I'm into it. Okay. So, anyway, this is my Duke Self Spear, as I talked about before. See, now I'm showing it to you. So, here's my Duke Self Spear that I made in the way that I told you about before. And if you look under the surface, look just at its surface, you see like silver tape, duct tape. If you look closer, you might be able to see that there's string under it. There. So you could use steel gauge wire too. Okay. So I talked about, explained verbal instructions only how to make a do-self spear. After telling you that it's the best home defense weapon, and if not the best, if you would argue it's not the best of it, it's gonna be one of the best. Okay. So anyway, it's a broom handle. It's a utility knife. As I told you, all you need to make this yourself. Broomstick, utility knife, whatever, El Cheapo, some utility knife. You can use a butcher knife, kitchen knife, and what you're looking for in terms of the knife you're going to use for this product, if you're going to do it, is you want a good piercing tip there, because this weapon is not something that you're going to be using for slashing. You're going to be predominantly using it for thrusting attacks. Okay. So this is with a spear, you're majoring on thrusts, not slashes. So forget about the kung fu like Jet Li, Jackie Chan movies. We got a spear like sweeping 360 and cutting 6 guys around them, and there's a lot of slashing stuff. It's like jumping up and cutting down, it's cutting. Okay, you're not using it like a machete, clean brush, or something like this. Like the effective way to use it, and especially the slashing attacks, like I said, are more skill intent, like you got they're more skill dependent. Was what I was looking for. Training skill dependent. But like being able to pull off like slashing attacks effectively in different directions, like you might see in the movies, something like this. That might take 600 hours of training drilling to get to that point. And few people are going to put in 600 hours of drilling to be able to use those attacks effectively in like a home defense scenario or something like this. So the way that you can pull off is to poke a stick straight at somebody, and that is also like an effective way even for somebody that is trained with a spear would still end up using that method more, even if they have more training with slashes and things like this. So A spear is the best home defense weapon for most people. Okay, it's one of the better home defense weapons, and I could argue for that and prove my case with logic and reason. I could have Socrates and have beat his ass in arguments. Okay, I don't care. Okay, but they work at Delphi. I hit her in the back of her this too, and she see visions never saw before. She be like the stars like the cartoons. I'd be like, "What's your future?" or something like this. But that's a joke. We're getting weird here, but it's basically some guy who's like famous for arguing people. Like, here's the point. Um, okay, so home defense weapons. I talked about a dagger. I told it to you already. That's one of the best fighting weapons uh, designs you can have. Is a dagger. Okay, a dagger is one of the best. You're gonna you look at a knife website for a knife that you think you're gonna have as a weapon knife for your collection. It's like I have all kinds of stuff. Now I'm looking for a knife that's like a weapon knife for my knife collection for this. A dagger is one of the most weapony knives you can get. Okay, the most weapon for your knife buck. Okay, it's one of the most weapony knife designs you can have. Why? Because they pierce. It's good at piercing, which is one of the most viable effective ways to attack with a blade. Period, with thrusts. Okay, and why I talked about that, it's easier to get deep in the border with thrust stabs than with slashes. Okay. So it's easier for me if if you look at a limb, okay. If I want to get 3 centimeters deep into this arm here from this soft side. So this is the shield side arm, by the way. And this is the soft side, like the soft underbelly of the arm. So this is the one that you're not blocking with if you're receiving like hard force with weapons, but it's this the blocking side arm. Now, if I want to get deep in here, it's easier for me to get 3 centimeters deep with a thrust with that than with a slash. Okay, it's just easier. So it's easier to get deep in the body, and deep in the body you have big arteries like blood vessels, and it's more like super smaller ones close to the surface of the extremities and this a lot of times. Now here's the point. You have the heart, and it's kind of deep in the body. You have the lungs, kind of deep in the body. You have major organs, kind of deep in the in the body. So it's easy to get deep into the body. It's similar if you think about this. If you look at gun tubing channels, and there's like they're testing out, and a big part of the draw of these channels, guys, the testings that arrange to have ballistic gel, like Paul Hero channels into this. It's because people are interested in like learning about what is the most dangerous, for example, for home defense. And it's like, oh, 3 layers of denim and a block of ballistic gel. This ammo goes this what deep into the gel is the terms of determining lethality. It's part of one of the metrics that you use, like, oh, this went deeper, there's more penetration. And there's also a wound cavity, like temporary wound cavity, where the hydrostatic shock, I think it might be called. Where it's like you have, if you hit, there can be a temporary wound cavity, kind of like a balloon going up in the body very quickly, and then it collapses again. But it's still like a kind of like an explosion happening in the body, even if you have a solid object enter the body quick enough. Now that's the type of thing you're doing, uh, and the fact you're having like terminal knife fistings, not ballistics. That's not what you're getting with a knife. Now I've seen these freak knives, like the Spetsnaz knife that you show up in the video now, then, where they have like some kind of CO2 cartridge in it, and they you stab with it, and it is explosive gas, and it like inflates, similar to like a temporary wound cavity in ballistic gel if you hit it with a weapon looking for high speed cam. Now anyway, here's the point. So penetration matters. Okay, penetration matters when it comes to using weapons. If that's a projectile weapon, notice one thing and many things. Notice I'm arguing for my points now. Like a dagger is better at penetrating deeply into the body more easily than some other designs. Okay, and getting deep in the body where you want to get deep in the body. It's a straight piece of steel. I don't like ceramics too much. Okay, I don't like it. It's more like a gimmicky knife. It's one of these meme knives, you could call it, as far as I'm concerned. You could call it meme knife, or like a gimmicky knife, where it's like it's shown for a lot of guys that are showing up in YouTube videos being super knife martial arts guys, and a lot of times you see that design a knife in the hand. So it's kind of giving like the impression that that's like the fighting knife for a lot of people. Like that, some people had the impression that's the best knife. And from video games, CS:GO, and things, so it's like this. And part of it's just the aesthetics, like the visual, what it looks like. Okay, it looks similar to like a tiger's claw in shape, or like a horn of an animal, something like this. So it might be like caveman, reptilian man. It looks like things in nature that hurt you. See, it's a curved thing that tapers to a point, similar to like a horn on an oxen that Filipinos have seen wandering around in nature or something like this. That like this, that's a dangerous animal. We've seen it poking things before, something like this. So basically, the shape, 2D shape of a karambit looks like objects in nature that hurt you, like thorns, teeth of certain predators, um, horns, okay, and things like this. And I do believe that a lot of weapon shapes, designs have come from humans being inspired by nature. Like you can think like in the Amazon rainforest, like some tribe that show up, you see like they have like a wooden club with like something they put like teeth around or so, something they attach to like stones. Like a lot of times they've seen something in nature, like they're sitting around a campfire and see something crawling or like a leaf that has the shape. And somebody's like that looks like if you'll be harder if it hurt you or something like this. So that's like trying to shape the stone more like that shape and then put it here and it's like you weaken it's like, and then it catches on. So I believe that is how a lot of the science. Same with like airplanes fighting jets. It's like somebody sees the sky like we're gonna make something fly. What's that? And it's like that's the shape that ends up being on airplanes. Okay. So anyway, here's the thing. If you're an Amish watching this, I got a hack by the way. It's like, oh, we can't use electricity, so Amish Airlines doesn't exist. I heard a preacher crack a joke. I cracked the riddle. Okay. And so he's like, well, like Amish Airlines doesn't exist. And I go, yeah, because Amish are known to not be able, they're not allowed to use electricity. Okay. Or combustion engines, I think it is too, in their rule set. But and I go, they should get the Da Vinci drawing books because he was all about up gear like winches and getting a propeller, just manpower. See, and I went like, I'm sure that could be done. Like if somebody would look at the Da Vinci drawings, okay, he was a painter and also an inventor on the side color, and that's what I became known for. So anyways, the point is one of these things was I introduce him to somebody. It's like I'm an architect, I do this, and I can also do inventions for like this and what everything was. Okay. And that also was the thing that he became most known for. So that's the point. So yeah, the Amish, they could if they got motive enough, they need to fly. Um, if they got a way to do by breaking the Amish rule set. No combustion engine, no electricity, no batteries. Just up gear like a bicycle. Okay, and you bicycle, and you up gear somehow, and it goes to propeller. Maybe one propeller up here, one there. And after I thought, yeah, definitely, the Amish, if they want to, could find a way to fly without breaking the rules. If it is just like the combustion and the electricity that's been voted for them. And not long enough, the YouTube algorithm gods, quote unquote, served me up with something. And it's like, oh, it's Chinese tech students or Japan flies on like a trampoline, and it's like a helicopter, but they fly by trampling like a bicycle. So anyway, Amish people, if you're watching this somehow, I guess it'd be somebody in town tell you that this guy was talking about how you could fly as an Amish person. 'Cause I don't think they'll allowed to take YouTube for this. That's the point. God bless the parts for this. That's the point. Okay. Oh, now we're getting into this. Okay. So home defense, self defense. Okay. One of the best weapons for home defense, spear. A lot of times I like to like hit you with the Bible, take away first, and then I get off into delving into something, and I really enjoy talking about things I'm into at times. So, best one of the best fighting knives, if you want my opinion, and why wouldn't you? Okay, especially when it's given freely. It's a dagger. Okay, one of the best, if not the best, home defense melee weapons, aka melee, as some people say. You say tomato, I say go jump in the lake. Okay, you say potato, I say whatever I want to say. Okay, I pronounce it different ways. So I'm a freestyle linguist. Okay, you can't hold me down. I'm a dancer, can't hold me down. Okay, I pronounce Temu as Timu. Okay, as if there was two E's in there. All right, this is how this things. So okay, so this is this is a spear. So the best fighting knife design, universally all around. If you're looking for a knife that's a weapon, you're not looking for something that for opening cardboard boxes. So there's certain things that be like this is the right. That's what you're looking for. If you're looking for something that can fit in the coin pocket of your jeans, okay, like the micro pocket on the right side, like the small one that you can put like a finger in, more or less barely, depending on how thick the fingers are. Maybe two of them. You want a knife, like well, what I need is for opening Amazon packages, and I get a lot of home deliveries, and I need a knife that can do that while being able to like be squeezed into that comb pocket and like be small or something like this, and less than this much money. This might not be the best knife for that use, but if you're looking for a weapon knife that's easily concealable, easily carryable, meaning it's easy to end up having it on you at all times. So here's another thing: the best weapon is the one you have on you when you need to have a weapon. Okay, the best weapon, the best knife is the knife. Okay, the best knife for knife fighting is the knife you have on you when you get in a knife fight. Okay, not the ultimate katana swords that's like big and could like slice a man in half with good technique and shot or something like this. But it's like on the wall over your bed, and you're on your back and you're smoking as the guy jumps over the railing and you're in a knife right now. So, you see, now that sword is not the best anymore because it's not in your hands when you're needing it right now. Okay, see, so it's like these little simple things. The best knife for a knife fight is the one that you have when you get into one. Okay, so I think like statistically, most people end up being stabbed, slashed, it'd be like a kitchen knife or something like this. I think statistically, maybe in the UK, Sweden, if you look at like statistics, like a lot range from a lot to maybe most, I would guesstimate, of people that end up like in the ER with knife wounds. It might be like a kitchen knife or something like this. I won't be surprised. So, anyways, the point. Best knife, fighting knife, as far as I'm concerned. And it's like I'm not comfortable getting too rigid with stuff. Okay, rigidity is death, you could say. Okay, so you need to have a little bit of like play in there. So it's like one of the best fighting knives. Okay, and to get convey the idea of the quality, I would say it's like it will be my top pick. So if you're gonna pick one knife to have as a weapon knife, I would recommend a dagger for most people, most scenarios. Okay. A dagger knife is one of the best fighting knife designs out there, as far as I'm concerned. Not the karambit. Not the karambit. And I do count the karambit as a gimmicky meme type of knife or something like this. It's like one of these things, like maybe a gun that is in Hollywood is not the most effective one, but somebody doesn't know about guns thinks that's the best gun because they've seen it in like 10 horror movies and it's always the gun that the guy winning the gunfight has or something like that. Do you understand? So there's perception and then there is reality. Okay. So it's like, well, this is like a crab knife. It looks cool. A lot of times it's like guys that are knife enthusiasts, martial artists that see on YouTube, like the Kali, Eskrima, like the Filipinos. A lot of times they have like that knife. Okay. And then you think that's the best fighting knife because a lot of people are like into knife fighting martial arts. That's the one that they pick. Now, I do consider it like a gimmick and meme type of knife design, where it's like a gimmick kind of. Where it's like it's something that is, uh, it more gives the appearance of being a super good fighting knife than uh, being that in actuality. So I picked this over a karambit like any day. I picked this over karambit any day. Now, with a karambit, what it would do well would be like the reverse grip, like this. Okay, like punch cuttings in certain areas. Now, here's the point. So, a dagger is one of the best fighting knife designs, if not the best. If you're looking for a knife, that's a fighting knife. Okay, and a spear is the best, if not one of the best, if not the best, home defense melee weapon. Okay, so if you're living in Sweden or Japan or the Philippines or wherever, if the laws are similar, abide by local laws regarding self-defense, use of weapons at all times. Okay, see, protect yourself at all times. Abide by the rules of Geneva Convention at all times. Okay, and the UN Declaration of Human Rights at all times, if possible. Okay, see. So anyway, okay. So I support. Oh, if you gotta pick a melee weapon, a legal weapon. So in Sweden, it's like if I would just move into the city, and I just recently became a man, and like realized started having manly thoughts, was like I don't like being a homeless sissy. I like to have weapons and be able to use them effectively in case I need to. Okay, something like this. And it's like I go and I don't know what I know now, and I go like Google, it's like weapons or something. So I found a website, and they have machetes, they have swords, they have sticks, they have like shillelaghs, they have all kinds of clubs, baseball bats, and nunchucks or whatever else. Okay, now you can't order nunchucks online in Sweden, but it's like still, I would pick the spear over all of these previously stated options. Okay, and simply one of the main advantages is remember the thrusting attacks are what you're going for. The thrusting attacks is like it's the same thing as knife fighting, where the thrusting attacks are the most sensible attack method of all time. Meaning attack with thrust stabs rather than slashes. Okay, so if I could pick only one way, where it's like the neurochip implant, I was forced to put one in my head, and the government was, Mike, you can pick being able to move your body, like they will like override my nervous system. But yeah, we'll let you be able to do knife fighting, but it's like you had to pick stabs or slash. I picked okay, I can only do stabs now. See, what show would be stabs like this, it'll be stabs like this, like this. I can stab in which way, rather than like you can only do slashes. Like actually. So um and what is better with stabs? Like I told you, it's easy to get deeply into the body with a slash than a stab. Okay. And what is like that's a significant metric. That's a metric that matters. Okay, a factor matters. Depth of penetration matters in combat. See, if that be if it be it with firearms or with spears. See, so notice how I'm proving what I'm saying. So that it's not, I'm not going to just say something. I can defend what I'm saying because I don't make things that are not true. Like just, oh, this is what I'm going to say. So it sounds like I'm certain of what's the best. So then I just go with it. Oh, it's this. Okay. No, it's like what I'm saying. It's just it's sensible. So thrusts are one of the best attack methods. Okay. And better in most scenarios, cases, than a slash. Okay. When it comes to knife fighting. Okay. And that's not that strange. Penetration is a meaningful, relevant factor if you're gauging like the lethality of a projectile. For one thing, not many things say. Archery. Listen to people that hunt with bows, Roman. Penetration depth. The powerful bows and a good arrow, it flies through there, comes out the other side or something. It's a powerful bow and an effective penetrating tip that slides easily to the body. It's not bad at penetrating, but like hits it and then like bounces off and leaves a bruise on the or something like this. But it's a powerful bow and it's like a good tip on it. Good meaning it slides like butter, but it's cutting as it's going through. So it's leading to massive blood loss, and it's if it gets to a vital organ, it's getting through and cutting it. So depth of penetration is important, like what you mentioned. That matters. Depth of penetration to attacks. If it's a firearm, why do you think that people like Paul Harrell before he retired from cancer? Okay, um, okay, and he's hosting whatever. So okay, too soon possibly. I'm not cracking on the spot again, but there's a reason why Paul Harrell, a lot of his tests they will be making. or other gun tubers, where they talk about how deadly is birdshot, or this new ammo for the Winchester, like the Taurus Judge, like a 45 long call, 410 shot shell. They have revolvers like the Taurus Judge, where you can load it with 45s or 410 shot shells, like you have it like for bird hunting or small game hunting. You have a 410 shotgun shell. There is a revolver that's like an oversized cylinder, longer, so you can fit 410 shot shells in it. And you can also fire like regular bullets. So a lot of times, if you dip your toe into gun community, it won't take long if you start like looking at ammo and guns and stuff until you see people who are talking about how dangerous projectiles is or testing it, be like the depth of penetration, so as a important factor. So it's like, okay, this bird shot on ballistics, yeah, what are they then? Oh, it got 2 inches deep. Okay, buckshot, same shotgun, same target, same ballistic gel, same denim on top of the ballistic gel. Oh, it got like 14 inches in or something like this at this distance. And it'd be like, wow, that is like you can see easily that the one that got the deeper is more lethal. Okay, because one of them might have been stopped by the arm, where the other one would have gone through the arm and be stopped here or something like this. So I think you might call it analog, like the ballistics gel. It's like a stand-in for the human body. I think it was the FBI possibly that invented this way, like a standard for testing rounds. It's like the ballistic gel is calibrated to this depth. It's like the minimum for certain requirements. So if you want a bullet to be deadly, you want it to penetrate at least this deep into ballistic gel or something like this. So penetration matters. Okay, penetration matters. Another thing that shows you that penetration matters is the Swedish air gun restrictions, like what air guns you can buy license free. Okay, I bought a few air guns, license free, of course, legal. Is they measure it from some kind of German ballistics lab or something like this, where they're gonna set the limit on what you can buy without a license air guns, and it ends up in 10 joules, which some scientist somewhere or somebody figured out through testing that 10 joules is below how much force you need to penetrate the human cranium at like I don't know, a meter from the muscles of this. So they put the limit of like license-free air guns at 10 joules, which means a .177 air gun, aka 4.5 millimeter pellet gun, at 10 joules. It's like the limit is like not more than 10 joules. It's so that it can't penetrate the human skull bone, which means it's the limits are designed to make it not be effective as a weapon against humans. Okay, but like a spear would be dangerous to that one in a headshot bullet. Okay, so anyway, so notice how penetration determines lethality in a lot of scenarios and circumstances. So this is a projectile that you're launching, see? And it's like okay, do you understand? So this is a projectile that you're launching, and it's using muscle power to push projectile, move it into, like that's set in flight, move it forward, and then land it in the target. And okay, and one of the things that determines how dangerous your attack was is how deep it gets in there. Okay, so a dagger is a type of knife that is good for penetration, and some other knife designs are not as good as penetration. So a wider tip uh, is not as good at piercing and like sliding into this more resistance. It's not as easy to slide through clothing into a body deeply if you have a round tip. Okay, if it's wider, if it's narrower, it's more slippery, more aerodynamic or hydrodynamic. It's more aerodynamic. There's less resistance through the air if you would launch this use it as an aero tip. Okay, this shape. There's less air resistance, which also means there's just less resistance, not through the air, but something that offers more resistance, like friction. Okay, drag, what do you want to call it? If you would move it through gel, okay, ballistics gel. This will slide easier through the air if you like launch it fast and narrow. It'll be more aerodynamic, this shape. And it will slide easier through gel. Okay, so it's like more slippery, it's easier. So we're getting like sometimes if I get this deep into things, it makes it sound like things are more complicated, hard to learn about this because I talk about what makes a good knife. I get into talk about terminal ballistics and things like this, and like holding like a discourse here. Now here's a point, like a lecture, like a 2 hour lecture. So here's the point. Oh, this is a good knife. This is my favorite knife out of all knives I've had so far. Now, what I told is the one thing I told what I like about it. The one thing that I don't like about it is the name of the product, Leatherneck. I feel like the name sells the product short. Okay, I do really like if I call myself Momo or something like this. Eh? I feel like I don't. It's like that. It's like I don't feel like that's the right name for me, Momo or uh, okay, or something like this. That's all. It's like I call it a mini dagger. I call this a mini dagger because that's what it is. So this is a cold steel brand mini dagger. Okay, so it's been christened, it's been baptized, splash some coffee on it. This is the cold steel mini dagger, as far as I'm concerned. It were made official. I should have a champagne bar cracked over here in christening, and then like launch it out on the Bon Voyage or something like this. What is the point? A dagger is the best fighting knife design as far as I'm concerned. Why? Well, I talked about it's better at penetrating deep. It's easier to get deep and get through things in penetration. So it's easy to get through clothing like jeans or if you stab somebody have a leather belt on it and you happen to hit the leather belt. You have a higher chance of this sliding through the leather belt and getting into the body somewhat deeply than another design. Okay, than a lot of other designs. So it's better at breaching, penetrating, getting through things that offer like serious resistance. It's better at penetrating, getting through things and getting deep. So like getting through obstructions. If there's something in the way, like a winter coat or a belt, or okay, you have to think that you're not fighting naked bodies most of the time. So that martial arts time it's skin, okay? So it works for training. But a lot of times, if you're fighting somebody, they're not butt naked, okay? See, they're gonna have clothes, they're gonna have a belt on them. And the belt is an area where if you test it out, we have a belt and put on a wood, don't try this on, it's dangerous. You have like a belt, a leather belt that a lot of people wear. And some places where you like double and you put it on a piece of wood and you stab it, you'd be surprised at like how much that can break your attack. There can be something else where it's like a pair of gloves in the pockets and you hit the gloves in the pocket with one that stabs to the body. You go with like a hook to the body and the person had like winter gloves in their hoodie pocket, something like this. So it's like getting through things. Okay, it's more realistic. So you're not fighting people who are butt naked, most likely. Okay, so just as with firearms, if you understand like ballistics and what makes certain calibers and bullets dangerous, that translates to understanding what makes certain medium weapons more dangerous than others. See? So this is a shape that looks like something that's made to penetrate well. Okay. This looks like the tip of an arrow. If you go look at a history book or search Google, Middle Age arrow tips, you're gonna see this shape show up. See, you're gonna see this shape show up. Only it might be cut like this, see, and then have like a full tang that is inserted. So it's like the hand the tip itself is the handle and the handle is like attached to the arrow. Do you understand? So like you find this as a tip of things throughout history where humans have figured out this is like for something that's gonna get through armor or get like deep into a deer if you're hunting or like penetrate well. This shape has been picked. Trial and error, reason thinking, and experimentation. This shows up as a shape for things that are supposed to penetrate well. And roughly it's the size of a bullet. See? Can you see that? If you see the tip there, only it's a little bit sharper than most bullets, but it's roughly the same shape as most like standard ball ammo. Now you have like hollow points into this, and some of the newer hollow points for hunting has like a plastic tip that's supposed to aid expansion, even if you hit certain things that can clog up the hole and
and interfere with the expansion. So if you would have this here, for example, this looks similar to a bullet, like a lot of bullets. Okay, the tip of a bullet, not the cartridge, but the tip of the bullet, only a little bit more blunted at the tip, like a truncated cone, as it might be called. So it's a little bit sharper than a lot of bullets are. But roughly, this shape is the shape of bullets. Why? Because that's an aerodynamic hydrodynamic. Well, if something's aerodynamic, as far as I'm concerned, it's also hydrodynamic, meaning the wings of an airplane, put them on a submarine, you can use them as to navigate. Do you understand? So it's like things that slide through air well, slide through water well. Like a shape that, like if you're gonna, you understand? Things that like swimming is similar to flying. Okay, only it wouldn't work the same movement in the air. You'd have to like upscale everything and do it a lot faster to a point where it'd be impossible for you to do without something breaking in you if you could generate that speed or like flap speed of your arms, okay? But it would be like technically possible if you could do the swimming fast enough, you could swim through the air, okay? If you're a dreamer out there. That might be the level of athleticism that no man ever has attained to. But I believe you could swim fast enough and you go from in the water, the same thing that will keep you going forward. If you would do that in the air fast enough, okay, like 10,000 RPM, whatever it would be, like flaps per minute, you could actually fly, okay, swim through the air, okay. Say, so you gotta have dreams, okay, highest pressure, aim for the stars, okay. So anyway, that's the point. We talked about weapons here, okay. So and it's has I just adore this more than I know that there's some whiny fake Christians out here that are like, Mike, you're not supposed to talk about violence as a Christian, stuff like this. No, I'm into martial arts, okay? That is why I'm not gonna self-sacrifice and stop being who I am because people whine in my comment section. Mike, Christians are not supposed to be like about weapons stuff like this. They're like, you're not a real Christian or representing real Christianity, okay? Jesus told his disciples, go buy swords. They came back with two swords. So he said, okay, that's enough. That's enough swords. Okay? I told you get some swords, which are weapons. Back then, the swords that they have, it's kind of like when you defended the weapons, people that of second, first amendment guys, they like talk about how it's not for duck hunting and skeet shooting that they have the gun rights. It's for killing people, okay? Tyrants, their minions, and like home invaders, or something like this. It's not what the founding fathers intended the gun rights for Americans to be. Not for like, well, to be able to do skeet shooting as a sport or something like this. That's the American spirit. No, that's not what they like. Yeah, this is important why need to fund the documents to protect the natural American sport of skeet shooting, clay pigeon shooting. No. It's the reason that they have those. The Constitution is for fighting tyrants, their minions, okay, and also like personal self-defense. Okay, enemies from domestic. Then maybe there's somebody comes to your home, like who's going to get you. You got to defend yourself, and for hunting too, because that's something that you might have to use to live off the land. So gun rights is one of these like cornerstones of the American core Americanism. Okay, because if you think about it, that sort of just helps you to live free on the land. See, it's like I'm going off grid, damn it. And if it was like everywhere in America, you have the freedom to bear arms. Okay, run restrictions. Be like a guy who's homeless just walks into the woods. Like he's one of those guys that's like homeless in the street in San Francisco. So if you're going to San Francisco, make sure you put some flowers in your hair. One of these guys. He goes into the woods, and if he's got a gun, so you can just set up shop there. Yeah, boom, shoot a rabbit. So with a gun, you can live off the land. You can hunt and survive in American lands as one person. If all you have is a gun, you could have a shot at surviving 12 months, two seasons, cold and hot season. If you have like a gunpowder and bullets, that you could survive hunting. Okay, see, so that's something that helps an American to survive in America. Kind of like worst case scenario, bare basics. If you got a gun and the freedom to have it, and you're in the woods, you can survive. Okay, see. And then also you can survive more long term to have Americans survive and not be like tuberized and thrown into prison by dictators for this for being Americans. That's the point. So Jesus Christ told his disciples to get swords, and swords back then weren't like that. It's not that the content someone tries to explain this away for lead opening.
because he had letters Jesus was going to send his relatives the Christmas cards, the Christmas cards. He was going to send Christmas cards. This is not what happened. Hey, I got a big stack of the mailbag is in. I got to ship out Christmas cards. Okay, so we need something to open letters with. Go get two swords. Okay, and we work two guys open letters at the same time. No, they can have like a short of them, a broken porter's vessel dashed in pieces. As a porter's vessel, you could dash a porter's vessel in pieces and get like a, or just a block, somebody, so your fingernail. So the swords in question are weapons, okay? The swords that he instructed his disciples to acquire were weapons, okay? They were not an axe, okay? So God talks about other stuff. Like the axe, he had to use more forces to bait his dollars, things like this. It talks about accidents by using tools in the same chapter, things like this. So it wasn't that he needed this to chop firewood for the disciples. Okay, Jesus and his disciples, we need the swords for chopping firewood. Or we need the woods as machetes to clear brush. We need the, no. So here's some things that he worked for, okay? Primary, okay? It's like, we need it for machete to clear a path. Now that's John the Baptist. Prepare, make straight the way for the Lord. He was doing that spiritually, okay? In the wilderness, okay? See, there were locusts and wild honey and let it go. And there was one crying it in the wilderness. See. So anyway, his support. I don't know what he had. He probably had some kind of bushcraft and stuff out there, some kind of blade knife or something like this. That wasn't the big part of the story. Okay, he probably had some kind of tool out there, unless he was working like one of these like experts, survivalists, like that host, like a Bear Grylls type, fully infrared type of person, and he just found a sharp rock and that's all he had, and put some ropes or sinew on it, and that's his one tool. He used that for everything, killing locusts and like opening trees to get to the honey in there and digging the fire pit. And he just had, I don't think, if I would have to guess, I think he had some kind of edged weapon out there. If I would guess. I'm not going dogmatic with it. Okay. So, anyway, his support. Uh, this is my favorite knife. Out of all the knives which I had previously acquired, maintained, or forfeited possession of. Okay, this is the number one. This is my favorite knife. Now I told you what I don't like. Okay, a lot of times before I make a video like this is where it's like, here's my opinion. Okay, and it's different than like first impression. Okay, I get like this new shirt. It's like, oh, it feels good, looks good, seems to be good quality. I can feel it feels quality. Okay, I'm happy with the price. See, now after 2 months of owning it. Now I can give like it is okay with authority. It's like it is quality. I wore this doing this. I can tell from experience that it is good quality because I've been doing stuff that if it wasn't good quality would have broken by now. Okay, the zipper I've been doing stuff. The zipper has hold up. Okay, I wash it at least like 10 times or something like this at this temperature. So do you understand? With experience with a product, you can make like a quality assessment. So I've had this long enough and used it enough and like wielded it and as it is, had enough experience with it to be able to give a quote opinion. This is my favorite knife. This is a good knife. Now, what I don't like about it is the name, like I said. Okay. I don't like the name that they gave it. Cold Steel Mini Leatherneck. I just don't like it, how that feels. I just don't like. It would be like if my wife came to me when and she was expecting, and we're going through like the conspiring what the name is gonna be, and it's like, hey, Mike, I thought maybe Rapunzel, if it's a daughter. I'd be like, no, it just doesn't sit right with me. See, it just doesn't sit right with me. I don't have to think about for 6 months. It just doesn't feel right. See, that's enough. It just doesn't sit right with me. Hey, what about we call this? Oh, the horn hollow or something like this. No, no, I don't like the name Hornhole for this. Do you understand? So I call it mini dagger, and what I call it is more accurate than like the name put on. Okay, a dog by another name is still a dog. See, so a dagger is still a dagger, even if you call it a roughback uh, hedgehog or something like this. See, if it's a dagger, you call it a roughback hedgehog. It's still a dagger. See? Okay. And I might prefer to call it dagger. So the one thing I don't like about the part is the name. Now here's the thing. You see, that's not something that would make me like that. I don't like the knife. See, don't like the name that is attached to it. What's like, hey, you're supposed to call this. It's not like I'm forced to use it. Okay, so I'm gonna call the mini dagger. If I figure something else, then I call it something else. But I call the mini dagger. So it's a cold steel mini dagger, sold as the mini leather neck, which you need to know that if you want to buy the same knife, and that's what you type in. Double edge, see. So you call it cold steel mini double edge. Now, but still, I prefer calling my words cold steel mini dagger. Cold steel CSMD. Okay, cold steel mini dagger. So a perfect pair, okay, would be like a Breda M9 and an HNK MP5 or something like this, like in Die Hard. That would be like a perfect pair. We have a primary and a secondary of the same caliber, and like interchangeable ammunition. So you would have like bandoliers, like your pocket, cold pocket filled with loose ammo. It's all the same ammo, and there's no issues of getting mixed up. So do you understand? There can be an advantage if you would have like two things that are similar, similar enough. So a perfect pair, like boring terms of the firearms world, would be this, and the same exact knife on the upscale to like X2 or X3. Okay. Now the issue would be this point of diminishing returns, where if you just upscale it like a fighter plane, like 116 mod airplane, X2, yeah, okay, still sensible. X3, there's a point where the handle is unnecessarily large. See, and if it becomes large enough where you can hold two hands on like this, the blade is still not long enough for this grip to make real sense. Okay, do you understand? So it's like there's a point of diminishing returns where you can upscale the handle length X2 and then the blade to X3, for example. And they might have something with a different name. So the one thing I don't like about it is the name. Now I got to get to the brass tacks and knife attack methods here. Okay. So brass tacks, steel tips, and knife attack methods. So my tips, uh, might talk about this. Fighting knife, one of the best designs, a dagger. Okay. And that was my opinion before I acquired one. And my opinion didn't change with experience. So I feel content with that. That I'm able to think, receive insights, have an intuitive perception of things. Okay. And be like, here's the truth. And with experience, it's confirmed, not disconfirmed. See? Where, for example, it's rare that I buy a lot of stuff on Temu per month. I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm rich, I'm low income, which is why I buy a lot of stuff on Temu because I don't have a lot of money. Okay. See, if you say I buy a lot of stuff, it sounds like you're boasting about your money. I don't have that money. That's why I buy a lot of stuff on Temu rather than elsewhere. So, um, okay, where's I going here? Go with this. I forget about that, but we'll get to the main thing here. Yeah, so this is a good knife, okay? A dagger. Why is a dagger good? It pierces well. What makes a dagger good weapon? If you're going for that, so this like if you're gonna go, what is the best knife? That's like how long is a rope type question. If somebody would ask that, okay, ask me that, what is the best knife? I have to ask follow-up questions to give a common answer. See, because it's too open-ended. The best knife, and it's like it's what is the knife an answer to? See, so your question is see, so it's like uh against the feast. Okay, see, it's like for chopping wood. Oh, okay, now we can start working with answering this. What's the best knife for chopping wood, for cutting string, for opening Amazon packages, while also being able to fit? So it depends on what the intended use is. See, and simple is if you have a single use, primary use, that makes it easier to pick a knife too. Like if you want a jack of all trades, it's a little bit different. So I pick a Cold Steel Recon Tent as a jack of all trades knife. If I want to be able to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like weapon knife use if needed. It's a knife that counts as a weapon knife. Can be used wielded effect as a weapon. You can sharpen it. You can get deep in the bottle with it. See, once again, penetration that matters for weapons. It has heft to it. It's strong enough where you can stab to bony areas, and it's unlikely to snap off. Okay, like break or the tip bending, and the tanto blade, one of the strengths of that, at least how cold steel, it's not a tanto, it's a tanto, see. It's not the liposomal vitamin C, it's liposomal vitamin C. If you see, oh, liposomal vitamin C, I heard people talk about it, search liposomal, get it, that's liposomal vitamin C. No, just because something is marked as a tanto knife and the thumbnail somewhere shows it's a tanto edge, doesn't mean that it's going to be the same for every knife of that design. For example, I bought a dagger shaped throwing knife, okay, for my spear, and that was the butt end of the spear, okay, and this is like the business end, and it has like the butt end of it, and there used to be a spear tip at the bottom. Now that was like a El Cheapo that I bought, like scanning thumbnails and like, oh, dagger profile, order that, and it's cheap. Okay. And so notice it's not just the shape. You look at the shape, oh, it's a dagger, that means it's a good weapon. No, because that one was like a throwing knife, another serious one. And it was thin. So it's like what made it weak? It was weak was the issue. Okay. Malleable, too malleable. The opposite of brittle. Okay. So talk about steel. So the knife blade fails. I had it here, used it for intense impact training, stabbing wood boards into this, which is I always go to. Uh, well, I end up doing things to like proof, make full proof for my techniques. See, okay, well, it's not just like, oh, I'm shadowboxing. I'm imagining slash with the knife. I'm practicing technique with knife shadowboxing. Oh, I can in my mindset see the blood gushing out. That wasn't effective. Like I hit hard or something like this. No, it's like if I'm with a stab like this and I practice shadow boxing, maybe the first time I figure something out, like, wow, this is just hammer fist like this can be effective. I can just feel it. Like I'm gonna test it on a wood board, and it's like, okay, it got deep in there. I could feel myself hit hard. I hit hard, nothing broke. I didn't lose the grip. It's like, yeah, the technique that I was drilling in shadow boxing, kind of worst case scenario would be like hitting a hip bone or a shoulder or rib with this technique. I'm testing it for that worst case scenario with an analog, you could call it, like something that's a standing for bone, which would be dense wood. They used to have in the US Army a testing for the salad projectiles, something to the tune of this inch thickness of oak wood, if you can penetrate it, it will be lethal to humans or something like this. Something simple like that. Like this type of wood, this thick, at this distance, if you can get through it, that means it will be lethal to humans or something like this. Okay. Like a wood board of this wood, if you can get through with this. Okay. So basically, if you can, don't try anything you see me do at home. We're going to have to flash disclaimers before we get physical here. We've been mostly verbal. We're getting more and more incremental, more physical. We put the stunt disclaimer up here. Okay. You take it and you study that for a while if you need to. So something simple like this, don't try this at home. Here, see. See there. Okay. So just that matters, okay. Meaning if all I've been doing in knife martial arts is like a hobby passion, was like I figured this out, see. Whatever that how that came to be was like I figured out this grip, and then from here, if there's like a teep coming at me, I could do this into the leg, like cut the elephant trunk. They have a my Buran style. I remember hearing about a technique. It was like as the teep comes, a push kick. You do something, capture the leg, and then elbow down on like the thigh or something like this to kill the leg or something like this. And they had a name for like cutting the elephant's trunk or something like this. Okay, something like weird. Okay, now do you understand? I thought about this. Like for example, how that ended up was like, okay, from this guard here, for example, or from here, okay, or from here, or whatever, or from here. It's like, what could I do or put in front of me if a limb presents itself? That's like a leg moving towards me. Well, I could do this into the leg, okay, see? And they say, well, okay, in shadow boxing, like play it out, okay. It's like, okay, you can do that into the leg. There's something at this level, poke it. Pretend it's here now with shadow boxing, poke it. Pretend it's here, poke it. Okay. And this is it is. It's like, yeah, okay, this is a sensible technique. This makes sense to drill. This could matter getting better at this. Attacking from here, 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 here. could make sense, okay? And it's like a skill to drill, a skill worthy drilling, okay? But don't do nothing which is of no use besides tennis book fabrics. See? So you should quickly filter out things that are pointless and a waste of time in your training. And only like put your power in things that matter. Okay. Like your time and energy is limited resource. So if you're gonna training something, like you train things that matter most, it's like depending on what your goals are. So if you're training to get better at more dangerous fighting with a knife, there's certain things that matter more. And some of the things are not the things they want it to be. So some of the things might be like training your cardio. See, oh, see? Okay. Whereas like, do you understand? Like that some of things might not be like training John Wick stuff, like some sorts of like funny stuff that exciting to train or show off to somebody else or this or stuff like this. It might be something as boring as going to jog or something like this. Could be more important than some of the other things that you might enjoy more doing as in terms of knife fighting. So like jog, doing cardio, whatever you do for cardio. Because if you do like intense shadow box with a training knife, you especially starting out not that athletic, you're gonna get hurt pretty quickly. Okay. And possibly by the time you have your blade out, you ought to be resting with a guy. And wrestling takes more energy than throwing strikes. So possibly when you end up having a knife, it is a knife right now, you've been wrestling with a guy and you were able to get your hand on the blade and deploy the weapon. And you might have been wrestling with somebody or fighting one guy, and they might be, why did you pull a weapon? Maybe fighting more opponents. You knock one guy wrestling the other one, something like this, okay? Get a movie style now. And you're already winded from wrestling, and now it becomes a point when somebody approaches with a weapon or something. Like now it becomes you're going to deploy a lethal weapon in this situation, and you might already be like winded. So basically, cardio matters when it comes to a fighting. Period. Okay, if it's fist fighting, elbow fighting, kick fighting, whatever your fighting was. Okay, knives, swords, and it's like the more you upscale it, like you're wearing armor now, and the knife is bigger and heavier, aka a sword. Okay, now cardio becomes more important. Okay, because it takes more energy to swing a baseball bat uh, than a nunchuck. Okay, a nunchuck you can like wrist spin it like this all day, kind of like a fidget spinner. Sit at your desk pretty much all day. You can switch hands instead of this. Now, a baseball bat, if you're sitting twirling with one hand like this, you're quickly some tired muscle group's going to tire out, and you're going to feel you start getting winded just because it's energy intensive that works. So, knife fighting. We delved into good knives. Okay, so this is my favorite knife. Okay, I told what I liked about it. Some of the things. It's a daggers are good for fighting. Oh yeah, the team thing is I've got to a point where I really make mistakes in my intuitive perception judgment thing. So and I'm not just saying this to boast myself because I've noticed the contrast. I'm comparing to save you some time here. So I've heard people go like when I on a pad I talk about I order Mike, where did you get the glasses for this? Oh, the team. Oh, okay. Oh, it's like, I like team. Well, it's like they have a lot of junk stuff. Then you get scared. You buy something with bad quality. It's like, oh, you must have been ordering from a different team or using a different brand while ordering there on the same team. Okay, because it rarely happens to order stuff from Timu or from when I used to order Wish, and I had the experience where it's like, oh, this was a shit product. What a waste of money. Okay. It's like it broke. I bought a pencil, and the first time I got to ride with it, it breaks. So it's like, oh, it was a scam pencil. Couldn't even ride with it once, and I paid $2 for this. The things that it's happened like maybe one out of 200 things I order. That is one of these, like flip or the coin. Luck and chance happen to them also for this. It's like time and chance. Was like, oh, okay. I ordered these glasses. They arrived and they were really brittle and broke. First time I dropped them from waist level to ground or something like this. Okay. Whereas these, I dropped this maybe 60 times from standing up, exercising, falling down. Okay, team glasses. Dropped them. Had them while training. Washed them with soap, ethanol. Washed them with vinegar. I've cleaned all kinds of stuff. But it's like they're still holding up. See, and they're from team is like maybe $7. Okay, so notice like it's not that it's more about the purchaser than the product. So what I decode that like why some people report that experience. If you tell the truth, like all these people tell me like they order on team or Wish and it's like they didn't go well. It's like a skill, I guess, Whereas like it's not like it's a minefield where every second item you look at is going to be a scam product. And like no, but it's like if you should be able to by look at the thumbnail, zoom in and look at details, shapes, analyze shapes and things like this, and read the description and possibly some product reviews and look at some numbers like how many people have ordered it. They also give us things like being on team for 1 year and you can see how many people bought it. I think so. This. So really, it's like I guess if you just go in there and you're like in a haste, just throwing random stuff into your cart and then check out with it, you might end up having some things that are not that good. Okay. So what I said, point. Before I got a dagger, I was already saying that that's my favorite. Okay. And getting a dagger didn't change my opinion. Okay. So this, I would say, this is my favorite knife, and definitely I would rather fight with this than this. Now you could obviously fight in between this with this knife, just with this knife. But I'd rather pick this. One of the things that makes this worse is it's more likely the tip to snap off after hitting bone once. Okay, and I know that from testing this out as a weapon, using this in knife fighting training against a bed with wood ribs on it, and I had a bed I was going to discard. Now I have like a steel tube frame bed. Before I had a normal bed with like wood ribs under it, and as it's going to be discarded, I was using as a much more use it as a training rig because it's going to be thrown out anyway. See, so I was using it for training steel cap shoe kicks, kicking. Notice that now I'm testing my martial arts. It's not just in my mind. Like I've trained shadow boxing, and I know if I would do that kick in my imagination to a guy's knee, it could hurt the knee or something like this. And then without like, well, but how do you know that you wouldn't like? But if you connect to a leg and not the shadow box you do or imagining kicking with steel cap shoes, use them as a weapon, then you wouldn't be like, oh, I broke my toes when I as soon as I touch something. See, that is like you're bringing the techniques to reality. See, whereas I'm actually kicking wood, which is like an analog for human leg. See, like something that's standing, like ballistic steel. See, it's like worst case scenario, like if you're kicking like soccer kick, you might hit a shin bone or a knee or a hip bone or a cranium or a shoulder or an elbow bone, which is not going to be that much different than kicking to this. But whatever your kicking was, okay, see, that's good. And then also like how heavy is it? So it's not just how hard it is, because if you have a wood board that's high density hard wood on a string, as soon as you connect with it, it starts swinging and that energy bleeds off. Okay, so it's not just about resistance; it's also like how much weight is behind that matters. It's like the how it feels connected with it. So same there. It's like if I start figure, I figure out my whole martial arts form. By the way, stick up shoe fighting. And a lot of it is just augmented Muay Thai kickboxing techniques. They are slightly augmented. Okay, similar to knife. A lot of times I like drilling knife fighting and knife fighting techniques that are just slightly augmented Muay Thai or boxing techniques. Like for example, the punch cutting. It's like you can throw a punch like this. You hold the knife and throw a punch like this. If you don't punch here, but you punch here, you punch the blade into the neck or here. See, very simple. See, and yeah, oh, okay. If you know hammer fist, I can throw a hard hammer fist. Knife fighting, augment this MMA technique. You hold it like this, you're hammer fisting. See, okay. See? So if you have this technique, well, you get a knife in your hand, you adopt that technique for knife fighting, and it's like the hammer fist becomes effective in ways where the hammer fist is not that effective and looks like silly. Meaning, how to throw a hammer fist. There's few people even try to hurt with a hammer fist like this. See? Like an underhand uh, hammer fist. You're going like 12 to 6 or like high with the hammer fist a lot of times. Or they used utilizing ground and pound in UFC matches. A lot of times the guy will finish the guy with a hammer fist. Like ground and pound, get the guy down and then rain hammer fist and like hook punch something like this. Now, you can also do hammer fist standing, but it's rare. But what would be even more rare for a reason would be sideways hammer fists or hammer fists that are like uppercuts where you have a fist like this. Well, it's going to do something. It's like Conor McGregor did shoulder strikes. Okay. And it's like, well, that's a non-conventional way to attack. And as you said that, they're like, hey, oh, that's you can punch with your shoulder in a UFC fight. Some people might be, that's silly, you're crazy, okay? There's a reason why you don't see that in UFC fights. But some people score points and shook their opponent with using the shoulders. Yeah. So, anyways, the point. Hammer fisting like this is not that effective. Hammer fist like this can be effective. See? Like this, here, here. A lot of times when I practice hammer fist to dummy, I like to drop my level for the optimal like technique execution, where it becomes kind of similar to if I drop my level for a jab, I drop my level and then I put a hammer fist and I'm landing where I want to land, like here. I don't want to land up here with the hammer fist or like here. I want to land at the bottom here. Okay. So you can do standing hammer fist, but for me, a lot of times it helps to land where and how I want it by dropping my level. Okay. Now, obviously, as I told you before, if this hammer fist, it is not that effective. Like hammer fisting from the side like this to here, for example. Here. If it's open here, it's like you're better off from here throwing a left hook or something like this. Like, do you understand? If you stand here and opponent's face is accessible, you're better off like turning and throwing a straight punch or a hook with this than going like this, like a sideways hammer fist most of the time. Okay. Nice opponent. With a knife now, note how the same like basic hammer fist, you get the concept that hammer fist can be used to attack as with a hammer, a so-called hammer fist. And it's gonna be mostly like this or like this, okay? Now, if you take the concept of hammer fist, you apply it to knife fighting, now you unlock all these angles that suddenly become super effective hammer fist angles. See, because you got a knife. So it's not relying on like brute force, like mass delivery, blunt force trauma. It's just, it doesn't take that much to get this deep in the neck or through here and in into okay to do something bad. Okay, see, it doesn't take that much. It's like like swinging this, you got a good whip. This see under here is doing something like bad. See here, like this as a punch without the knife, like an uppercut underhanded hammer fist is not really, it's like unlike to knock somebody out. And like it's like a dream just even to like have the opening for that technique, okay? Now still somewhere like this or like this, it's like this. And you will be fast enough and you had drilled this like in most cases used this technique that was like most likely never gonna have a reason to even try to pull off. Okay, but I understand. Like is there impossible it could be effective? No, it's not impossible. You could do something like be a significant strike lander, but it's not. It's like it's highly unlikely you're better off drilling up at the things. Like if you have this position and this person's that like you're better off having drilled some other way to attack from here, for example. That's the point. So the hammer fist, like it can be effective, like ground and pound, hammering down like this, for example, or this, like more like this. Okay. Now, hammer fist like this. That's not a really effective hammer fist. You don't see people who try to use it like here. Instead of like an uppercut if the jaw is open, they go like this. That's all like a hammer fist. You go boom, boom, like this. Now, with a knife, that hammer fist angle is super effective, can be. And if it lands here, if you think about the angle that I'm throwing this at, here, here. At the end of the technique, it's an uppercut to the throat or like under the here, say. At the end of the technique, see, it's up here. Or it could be to the front, depending on how the head is positioned or angled. Closer in on the technique, it's going to be here, see, and or here, like under the sternum and into the heart area. So if you look at the angle here, so at the end it's here, kind of in the middle it's here, and at more in the beginning it's like here in the gut. And even quicker, it can be the groin or something like this. So this is a hammer fist. Okay, if you remove the knife from the equation, like a weird hammer fist, but with a knife, it's effective. And it can be even more effective because it's unexpected, it's unconventional, and uninstinctual, and it's a refined, trained uh, way to use it. Meaning it's anything that's unexpected and like it can help. Okay. Basically, not seeing things coming make it more likely. If the person doesn't expect you to attack like this right now, it makes it more likely that you attack like this right now will be effective and be able to land what you're trying to land. It's a basic fact, okay? So it's like, if I'm holding this here, okay, here, it's like a freeze frame on fight, and I go like this. There might be a unexpected, just that it wasn't expecting it from go from here and then shoot under, that might make it land. And there might be another more obvious way to use it from here, like this. That wouldn't land because like if I'm holding it with this grip like this, that might be what you like expect, like a frontal straight thrust attack, something like this. So anyway, it's more important as far as I'm concerned when it comes to landing techniques. What matters more is your precision and speed than being deceptive and good at deception, see, or like feint, see. Like, as far as I'm concerned, like philosophy of feints and like landing stuff. It's better to major in speed and precision, like reflex and stuff like this, than getting good at like figuring out fake combos where you have a combo and some of them are like a feint. Like one of the attacks is a fake attack in the combo. Like it's like you're better off if you want to land things, getting fast and accurate, and like majoring that. They'd be like, well, I'm getting good at like fake throwing a right hand and then like sneaking down, switching to a body left hook to the lever or something like this. Because I'm getting good at telegraphing fake like power that comes like a right hand, whatever I'm doing. And no, actually I threw like a left hook to lever or something like this. Like it's like more like being fast enough. So if the left leg is open, you're fast to get your get the left hand. And to like to land the left hand, you have to fake the right hand, get good at faking stuff, and that's how to set things up. Now they see the timer faking it, but it basically it's not you faking, but you hacking your opponent's brain basically. That's like a social engineering, where you're getting them to react in a way that serves you. Because like they react in a way that opens them up somewhere else or something like this. Or get smart position or like you're getting them to make mistakes. That's the point. Knives. This is a good fighting knife, a dagger. Okay. And with the training, as I talked about, it's like it's not all, and that's what I recommend too if you want to get better knife fighting, so train knife fighting. And you care about what I think, and why wouldn't you? Especially when it's free. We're not even getting to quality, it's like it's free. So I said that's okay. So that's the point. Um, I didn't just start like training when I started training, like, oh, what I'm doing is shadow box for a mirror, and I'm impressed at what I see, like I'm moving fast and it looks cool, something like this. So I feel like I'm getting effective with knives. Now, after I can move this fast in different ways, stuff like this in front of you, like shadow boxing, imagine it's like a bad guy, cut his throat right there in my mind, something like this is shadow boxing in my mind's eye. See, no, it's like it can be that or like figuring things out, where it's like imagine this guy standing in front of you or is this the shadow box where we have like a dummy without actually cutting it up? Okay. And so, well, what can I do from this position? If I end up in this position, I'm here and the dummy is at this distance. Step in, throw a jab, and then punch cut like this, for example. Okay. Oh, yeah, it makes sense. Okay. Like a boxer would do. Okay. Now, at a certain point in time, I take it from shadow boxing and drilling to impact training, which is like the reality test, where it's not like do you understand? You could have like if this group, for example, and I start drilling, and I'm just focused on speed and wrist flex and stuff like this. But if I would apply it to impact resistance, like a bookshelf or a tree, and go and move the same way as fast as hard as I was moving shadow box and I had to do muscle for it. But oh, it's like the first or second attack, the knife flew out of my hand because I didn't figure out by actually impacting my techniques up until now that if you move like this with this grip, it's really hard to have the knife that's out of your hand or something like this. There was could be some where you felt like you were holding on to it, but like attack at this angle, it like hurt your wrist, okay, or it's like you almost lost the knife, can be enough, or you started feel sliding or something like this, or it didn't cut that deep if you'd be attacking like a wood thing or something like this. And you can be like, well, thrusting is like you can feel, okay, I'm delivering force and it's creating puncture wounds, and I can feel like I could do this over and over again. I'm not feeling like I'm almost losing the knife every time I impact it. See? So Anyway, we talked about that. A good knife for fighting. If you're looking for a home defense weapon, legal in most places in this world, that you is the one of the most effective ones, if not the most effective melee weapon, aka melee. And by local laws regarding self-defense use weapons at all times, as I said. Now, a spear, okay. I pick a spear over a baseball bat, or like usually the average guy if looking for a home defense weapon, melee weapon, as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion. You're better off picking a spear as your home defense weapon than a baseball bat or nunchucks if they would be legal, or a machete, or even a sword. And one of the main advantages is the reach advantage, which a spear gives you. And reach matters, okay? If you think about it like this, if you got a castle and you're an archer of the castle, it's like the Middle Ages. So it's like this is like a micro, okay, downscale, nanoscale. It's like one versus one, okay. So you are one guy having a medieval castle. You're the one guy on the wall with a bow and arrow to shoot at the people that's been laying siege to you. Now they're gonna take the walls, and it's just me walking at you, and all I have is a sword, okay, and I'm marching at you, and I'm starting out 100 yards away. Okay, you can begin engaging me immediately using a high arc. Okay, Phew, and it be like a mortar like this, and then it's like you're adjusting your angle mostly. Same force, full pull. You go high, and it just costs a little bit. Adjust the angle, go low each time, and eventually it's like this. Okay, and down we go. Now you're gonna have had 10 attempts at hitting me with your arrows. Okay, if I'm marching like this, walking at a normal pace, 100 yards, like okay, you gotta have had the ability to launch like 10 arrows at me, opportunities to hit and hurt me, to decrease my fighting ability. We're not even talking about if it's a lethal wound, but if I get up the wall with like as air in my shoulder, maybe I can only use my left hand to wield my sword now. So I'm not as dangerous anymore. See, so it's just not. It's not just what like the what are they wearing, what is the weapon, notice how I'm getting into like the corners and this fitness. See, and like if you have bad corner in the Middle Ages, you don't end up having bad corner in the Middle Ages. It's like the guys are like marching all day with full armor and carry like their bedroll and their food and everything and water and everything, and they're like marching all day and singing while marching. Okay, okay, and then they arrive after like 6 hours of marching or something like this. Like there's a castle, okay, and then maybe sit and chill a bit. It's like, I'll storm the walls, okay? Do you understand? Athleticism was different back in the day. It's like there were people that had a completely different level of athleticism back in the day. It used to be normalized. So some of these guys, that with the level of athleticism they had back in like the Middle Ages, the people fighting wars, and even like the farmers and stuff. Like you'd be accusing them of being on meth and testosterone and roids or something like this in the comment section. They would do public workouts. You'd be like, this is stop doing roids and whatever else you're doing or something like this, because it'd be hard to believe compared to the average man. See, you see them streaming live on YouTube doing physical feats, they'd be accused of doing meth and testosterone or something like this in the chat because they're so above that they're superhuman compared to average Joe. And I've done people like this too, which is why I take it as a compliment that people come into 3 hours into me doing cardio training, throw punches, and people be like, stop doing crack or something like this. It's like, I'm not smoking anything, I'm training, okay? So it's like, I guess like, oh, they're trying to devalue because I'm being good enough, so it's too hard to be true. It's like, I'm shining so much, it's like, we have to try to devalue this and be like, somehow attribute this, because it's undeniable. See? It's like, wow, he's doing so well, that's like undeniably good, so I'm not even going to try saying that this is weak or something like this. Okay. Okay, you got no gas tank, of course. No, so it's like what the pigs attacks like this is something, okay, and I'm attributing it falsely to like a boogeyman, you're doing something, some kind of performance enhancing substance of this, which has happened enough to a point where it started irking me. That made people falsely accusing me of doing stuff, especially when I'm a teetotal, don't even drink alcohol anymore. Not a drop of alcohol for 5 months. So anyway, I support. Um, Back to this, okay? If I feel like I go back to timestamps in this video for people who want to jump around and find a certain spot I'm dealing with a certain thing. This spear, now cover the dagger, okay? In short, this is one of the best designs, as far as I'm concerned, for fighting knives, okay? A dagger. Why? Because it pierces well. It's good at penetrating. Um, And here's another thing: if it's sharp on both sides, now this is saying about a two-edged sword couple as well. Yeah, so this like it's more dangerous to use it. Okay, so which is part of why you don't use actual knives in knife fighting training. Like God forbid it's sparring. If you're that crazy, you will think about watching this video. I got to get like knives and start sparring with my brothers with real knives and stuff like this. It's not just about will; it's about accidents. Okay, so that's the point. And like the Bob Ross method doesn't apply to knife fighting martial arts. There's no mistakes, just happy accidents. There's no happy accidents. Okay, see, like painting. Bob Ross is like the youngest prime painters. This guy's like a pro. It's like remember, it's like there's no mistakes when you start to like paint, just happy accidents. Okay, the other side. So he'd be like, well, if you kind of got some too much blue there, it's kind of capitalize on that and work with that. And don't look like, oh, I ruined the whole painting or something. Do you understand? You can save it, or it could be like, wow, it actually ended up being a better painting because I put too much glue there to begin with. Something. That's the point. In knife fighting, it's like they don't apply that Bob Ross to that. This just happy. There's no mistakes, it's happy accidents. Because accidents in knife fighting training are less happy. Okay, I remember hearing an anecdote from somebody, like on a panel, YouTube panel, about some they said on the news or somebody that they knew or something like this, but they had a knife and accidentally stabbed himself in the thigh and like got the femoral organ or something like this, and they called the ambulance, still conscious, and they were bled out and like dead before the ambulance arrived due to the massive blood loss. Something dramatic like this. Like they had somehow gotten a knife in the leg, and it was like violence. It was like an accident. Maybe like they were cutting something and slipped. I could see if maybe you cut like bone with this grip, it's like it slips and gets in your leg or something like this. Uh, and they had been able to make like a 911 call, but they were dead. Okay, even though the ambulance was still like 3 minutes later, they were still dead because they bled so much, lost so much blood. Okay, so there's certain like places, tubes in your body that if they're open and not closed quickly, it's like it's a problem. So dropping a knife on a foot that can hurt you bad. Okay, now we're not going to get into like getting too much failure into your brain as we talk about this. Okay, that has to be what I've been focusing on, like focus on everything, like as I'm shadowboxing that could go wrong and how I could get hurt by now visualizing it or something like this as I'm doing shadowboxing. That's not what I've been doing. Okay, so it's important. Um, so this is a good knife and dagger. Okay, a good home defense weapon is a spear. Why is a spear better than what a lot of other people might have already picked? Well, I got a machete under my bed, or I got a machete under my pillow, or I got a baseball bat next to the door, or something like this. Why is the spear better than what most people have picked if they have a melee weapon that they pick for home defense, while having a spear be attainable to them? Okay, so primarily the reach advantage. Okay, it primarily reach advantage. So I'm gonna demonstrate this to you. Simply, we're gonna sheet this here. Okay. Okay. So here's Bob. Don't be like Bob. Bob is a guy on a horse charging a guy. Okay, so here's the Bob. So Bob has a spear, and I have a knife. Okay. So he's the defender, and I'm like a guy breaking this house and cracking. That's why I got the whole defense spear. And I'm a guy who broke in and shot with a knife. If he has this spear, and I'm coming at him, notice how I just got stabbed in my heart area, and I can't even touch it. So I think it's like I just demonstrated what a reach advantage that there is a value to it. See, so if this guy's got a spear, and I'm charging him with a knife, okay, before I can touch him with my knife here, he can reach me with my spear. See, so I can't get close to him without him being able to stab me with his spear before I can stab with my knife. See? So a range advantage makes a difference. Same as in if it's like medieval warfare, if you would have like one guy on a Russian star for one of the walls, another guy advancing. So if there's an archer, this reach advantage makes a difference because he can get like 10 arrows at you as you're approaching before it even becomes a knife fight. So the reach advantage makes a difference. Also, uh, it's easier to find a strong point and defend it effectively if you have reach. Okay, and also a spear is easier to wield effectively, especially a light spear. Whereas a baseball bat, if it's heavier, swinging it around, it's like if it's more effective swinging. So it's easier to use a spear effectively in different kinds of spaces because it's just straight, okay? And you're attacking, you don't need that much space. It's like it's stabbing with a knife. So if you have a knife here, stabbing this close is dangerous, stabbing further is dangerous, okay? So it can be dangerous like this close or this far away. So yeah, that's one of the best home defense weapons. And in the beginning of this video, I was talking about how to make a home defense spear. And here's mine that I made. Okay. And it's hot glue, uh, wooden broomstick, hot glue, string, and duct tape, and a utility knife. And it's strong enough to withstand thrusts. So here. This is similar to hitting bone. Okay, this is dense wood, so it's not too far from hitting bone. Whereas it's sudden resistance, it's dense material, and once you get in there, it wants to stay stuck in there. You kind of have to pull or wiggle it out. So with a spear like this, thrusts are the most is what you're going for, like 9 or 10 times, and it's not that smart to be going for slashes with it. It's harder to be effective with slashes with a spear than with thrusts like this. So, I'm gonna put up a disclaimer. So now we're gonna put up the stop disclaimer here before doing it. We're doing it after I did something risky too, which I don't even count as super risky, but kind of as a technical thing. Anything somebody could consider to be risky to be doing, I'm putting the disclaimer up. The kind of. So here we go. I'm gonna check how long I've been. I started streaming 2 hours ago. Time flies, okay. See, time flies. Oh, okay. Now it's one of these things where I had no idea. Okay, I get where I talk is. I could have been surprised by how long I had been live, but now I was surprised by how long I had not been live. I was like, oh, it's kind of like only 2 hours. I felt like it could have been 4. So it's important. Here's the cold steel. Okay, and I'm not a shill. Okay. See, I'm not a shill. I mean, it's like I didn't get a discount promising to recommend this for this. If my opinion would have been this sucks, it would have been broken. I'd be like, yeah, I stabbed with a wood board this time. It broke the first time the tip. It's not a good fighting knife for this. Okay. So anyway, here's the point. Uh, a good fighting knife is a dagger. Okay. See, it's simple. A dagger is a good fighting knife. A good fighting knife is a dagger. Make like a political slogan, possibly help remember it. If you're interested in what I think. So penetration matters, okay? It's easy to penetrate deeply, which I already talked about for like 30 minutes, making my case that penetration is important. If you talk to hunters, they will talk about penetration. They will come up in discussion. People try to kill things. Like hunters talk about hunting elk with black powder muskets or bows or crossbows or whatever you see. If you deal with people talk about ammo for like their home defense weapon, a gun tube, like Paul Helson for this. Penetration will always like show up as somebody who's serious, have enough videos, enough words talk about a topic, and they're not an idiot. Like they will start talking about or demonstrating penetration. Okay, when it comes with determining the lethality of a weapon. Do you understand? You might show an example as a bow and arrow. Okay, but well, X pound child's like your child's first bow, okay, to teach them how to shoot a bow and arrow. It has suction cups for this. Maybe it's like 2 pounds. I don't know. I have to draw weight. I had one this as a kid. It'd be like you could use like your pinky like now as an adult. Like you could use like a pinky. It's most like I could control the plastic ball with one pinky like this, hook it, and then the string with the other one, and most likely be able to like launch an arrow like this. Okay, that just to demonstrate how easy it is to pull and draw it. Okay, so but still, that was blown my mind. If you find like suction cup arrows, okay, in your mind you find it dragon stuff like that. That's the point, okay. See, it's still real to me, damn. That's the point. You do like arrow shadow boxing. A lot of times the shadow boxing has a low resolution, greater skills that you got in like as childhood. You just apply to other stuff. It's not really martial arts in adult. It's like getting into most kids has gone around doing some kind of shadow boxing. They had like a stick playing around and then they think it's like a monster there. Fighting or something for this, okay? It's like they basically that you just take the thing you've done before these ones most guys as a kid and then just apply it to get more tactical and sophisticated work. That's the point. This is a dagger, called the dagger. I like it. I don't like the name, okay? And it's actually okay. I don't like it. I don't like the name, the leather neck. There's no leather on it. Okay. See, there's no leather. I can see the okay. It's like I can see if it came from a leather sheet. It was called the leather neck. I get it. It's a neck knife. See, I know that already. And the sheet is made from leather. Hence the leather neck. It makes sense. Okay, it justifies the name. I get what I call the leather neck. It's a neck that I see. It's kind of like quirky too. What's it called? Witty. It was like leather neck. It's a knife that comes with leather sheet, as opposed to regular like plastic. And it's a neck knife, so it's the leather neck knife, leather neck in short. See? I can see how that works, but I don't see. And it might be like the lore, the Cold Steel lore, where I've been skipping like chapters of like this Cold Steel YouTube channel and like Lynn Thompson era where it's like we're coming out with rolling out the new Leatherneck series. Here's why we're calling it Leatherneck. But I'm still where it's a mystery, okay? I didn't watch the videos if they exist. Where I hear space like the Leatherneck, why they call it where it comes from and stuff like this. Possibly I could see now as I'm figuring out where if you wear like a string around your neck all day, you will toughen up your skin like carelessness if you do a lot of pull-ups or weightlifting or carpentry or something like this. Whereas I can get like leather skin. So possibly it could be that. Well, if you have like a leather, like a strap, a neck knife all day, and you're moving around 24/7, 365, eventually have like your skin will be uh, leathered up, like calluses on your hands, possibly. Which you can see like calluses from doing like pull ups and moving weights and training and stuff like this. So you get some calluses if you're doing anything kind of rough with your hands on the brake, you get some calluses. Like so you can see this, like your borders kind of making some padding there because this is some heavy use there as a thickness skin there, like an automatic process. So I also believe this. People now, modern humans, we walk around with sneakers, okay, like ergonomic and like designed by foot doctors, stuff like this, to make it as soft and comfy as possible, walking, running, and jumping, I would say. And that can also translate to less wear and tear on the joints and things like this. So I'm not saying it's like mocking it as for sissies that if it's like they're effective at cushioning. Okay, actually go for cushioning when picking shoes and flip flops and so on. That's the point. I do believe like the Indians, Native Americans, or people that are more likely to be running around barefoot in the wilderness. Most likely they'd have like a thicker skin on their feet. But if oh yeah, as an example, myself, for example, I've been walking around with like shoes. Okay, I can't remember last time I was barefoot anymore. Okay, like at the very least, I'm wearing socks. Okay, only barefoot in the shower. See, okay, and I'm not walking around on different textures. Okay, so I got like little baby skin under my feet, I guess you could say, and I did some apply to most city people. Not people like barefoot hikers. Barefoot hikers not in this category, like the bare fringe people. Okay, like or some hippies. I go walk in the forest to ground myself and hide the trees, and I walk barefoot and look at the moon, and I feel whole again. Sometimes you can make me whole again. Okay, yeah, it's like I don't hang out with people like this. Nice, okay, nice point. So yeah. So basically, your your body will adapt to different scenarios. So I noticed that by experience like how sissified my feet, the underside, like the soles of my feet have become uh, uh, with years. When I was at the lake and gonna go dipping, I could take a bath, and I'm walking like this jagged edge, like the cliff, like as you're walking down these like rocks, and it's like jagged edges and hard, and it's like I'm really like walking. Oh, it's like really like poking me and like getting the nerves in my feet. Like, it's like really like it's like uncomfortable walking on it. Okay. Now I couldn't picture if I was a guy who was still like a kid, who was walking around the forest playing barefoot or all day. So they said that you can uh, your skin can get thicker and you can walk around and things like this, and it's not really that uncomfortable. I know there's a new trend where some people are proponents and like diehard fans of these barefoot shoes, which I'm not. Okay, it's like that's I've seen people that are like they act like this is like the born again barefoot shoes people. It's like this is like the thing for runners, like the utmost thing for hiking or walking or running. It's it's like just like as thin as you can get. Okay, basically like rubber socks or something like this. No, I believe in like okay. I like thick sole and a lot of cushioning. So if I pick shoes, I go for cushioning. Why? If you see my training videos, I do things like jump up in the air and then I'm landing on this. This is not like a gym wrestling mat, okay, or this cushioning. This is like this are pretty much the floor. So if I'm doing 600 repetitions, like bouncing around, there's like a little bit of this on the knees and ankles every time, okay? And if you X that, like I do that 3 times a week or something. It's like bounce around, jump around, and then kicking while I'm putting my heels off like this. It's like the ankle, next stretch point is the knee, and everything like this. So basically, I can kick harder more times if I have some cushioning under my heel than if I'm doing it barefoot. Okay. So, anyways, the point. All that to say this: this is a good weapon knife, as far as I'm concerned. And if you're gonna pick a knife for using as a weapon, this would be the one I would recommend to most people. Now you have to be aware that it's also more dangerous. This is saying like a double-edged sword because it's easy to get hurt with this. If you get like people, I see some people on YouTube do belly song showboarding stuff, where it's like they got the hang of like the flipping a belly saw knife, like a so-called butterfly. Like, boop, 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 boop. Okay, it's switching all kinds of ways, like trick stuff. Okay, and I'm not hating on it, but it's like if you would try that and you never done it before, you might get like cuts on your fingernails the first time trying if you're lucky. Like you close it and it snaps on your fingernail, you can feel a pinch there, but you had a fingernail there, so you didn't get a cut on your fingers. But you notice you make mistakes and get cuts if you just like look at a YouTube, a guy doing that like trick while he's song flipping and be I'm gonna do that and stop trying to go at his pace, you most likely get cuts somehow. Okay, trying it. So it's similar to that, where it's like just to be responsible. If I just leave it at here's a good knife bite, okay, you have to be reasonable. Where it's like it's easy to get hurt or something like this because there's two edges on it. So just be aware of that. You can see my other videos where I talk about how to get better at knife fighting. One of the first things I would recommend you to do is to get a training knife. Okay, and I've explained what it is. What counts as a training knife, like a good one, and then you can learn the two main grips, and then the two main augmentations of the two main grips. So that's four quad, and then you can start doing grip change drills, and you get better at wielding a knife and controlling it. And what doing that will give you immediate feedback if you fail. Like, am I able to wield a knife effectively? Because if you drop it, you notice you dropped it as you're trying to keep control of it and doing stuff with it. If you hit a part of yourself with the tip, you weren't trying. You were trying to do like whip chase drills here, for example, like this here, like this. Okay, with a training knife. Okay, yeah. Like let's say we're doing this as a drill. This is a thing you do. Okay. Now, if this would happen, interview that. Like, oh, obviously I didn't get the hang of it. So if you do different things, you know, as you brush against it with a training knife, this is why you use a training knife. Because if it's a real knife, it's like, oh, do you understand? There's an injury each time you make a mistake. Okay. So you use a training knife because Another mistake helps you get better, and it's not creating injury that makes you worse at using your limbs, potentially. Okay. Or even having limb movement as an option because there's some injuries that could result in serious injury. That do not try at home. Okay. So it's wrong. Okay. So, okay. So, yeah. So that's the point. It's like you heard about board displays before, making excited now. Different level. So anyway, if you're doing theatrical disclaimers now. Okay. Which are graphics. Here's what could happen to if you try this at home. It'd be like some kind of CGI of like a dragon biting your neck off or something like this. Okay. So it's a point. So okay, here's a point. Secure exit. See, notice it's a secure. See, this is an inertia test where a lot of sheets. Now look at this. See, it wasn't that securely attached. See, do you see? It's the same thing that same move, flick. Okay, and I would say the two sheets are roughly the same weight class. Okay, this is actually heavier, which tells you what that it should be easier to unsheet this with like the flicking method, by weight because it's more weight there. Okay, so like using inertia. So here, it's not as secure. Now this has been broken in. Okay, which makes it easy to break out of the sheath. Okay. Yeah, it's wordplay. I mean, so it's a it's like triple on trauma. It's knife play. It's wordplay. Okay, so that's the point. This is a Swedish word for difficult. It's called svår. We could squeeze that in there to make like a quad play or something. The svår wordplay, like a difficult wordplay. Then you make the first word Swedish, and the Swedish word for difficult is svår. Similar to German word schwer or something like this. It's like severe or something like this, or heavy or something like this. But that's the point. My point is this. Okay. So here is the point. Okay. Yeah. So it's like I get out of technicality. If I ended the video, people are complaining, Mike, you never made the point. You scammed us, my clickbait. Okay. Towards the end, he said, here's the point. I was waiting the whole video for like the grand finale. Okay, the crescendo of points, the point of points that I was like, could feel you building up to through the whole video. Like, here's the point. And the video cuts off. It's like you have the clickbait or somebody, you scammed us. No. It's like there's a technical, there was a point. Here is the point. So the little actual point. So in case my inter runs out or the gamma shuts it off like this, it's like I can breathe easy, okay? I didn't fail to meet a commitment. I promised a point. See, worst case scenario, it's like there's a perpetual point being made the whole time, okay? And anything above the baseline is just a bonus. So here's a point. Yeah, okay. So you heard my take on this knife review, general philosophy of use. This is a quality knife. If you're looking for a knife to fight with, a fighting knife, a dagger, it is the best design. Now, what makes me a little bit hesitant to say this, like if somebody doesn't have a lot of skill, if you be a stupid person, like I'm get the knife, you start jogging with it the first time, it's easy to get hurt with a dagger if you do stupid stuff with it as a rookie. It's like moving around and like, it's like juggling or something like this. Because like it's an edge here, you can cut on this side. It falls down while it's cutting, it just fall down this way. And if it falls down this way, it's like less crazy. But if it falls down this way, it's like you're gonna cut. So you could be like with a knife like this, and if you end up dropping it, like if it drops like this, okay, ooh, I felt it brush when I made this mistake as my hand, but it's not cut. But if it be this way, it would be a cut. See? Or if you were to fall like this and hit my foot, I'm barefoot, let's say, with socks. I actually feel I kind of hurt and tapped my toe. But it wasn't on this side, so that's saved like from a serious injury. But on this one, anyway it falls, okay, it's gonna cut. It's a cutting edge there. So it's twice the cutting edge. Okay. It's like here's what is things like don't even try, okay. So here's the thing. Here's another thing that you might not know. Okay, this is an 18 plus video topics. We talk about killing people with weapons. So this is not for 13-year-olds. So it's like, I don't feel like if there's any video I can make like raunchy remarks. So the old Swedish word for sheet is vagina, by the way. I'm not joking. Slida. That's actually one of the Swedish words for the sheet of a knife or sword, or possibly specifically limited in use to a knife, which I can see how that fits because it's like it's a phallic shaped object similar to an obelisk or something like this, and there's a receptacle that it goes into. Okay, so the name for this is like, let's call it this or something like this, like Vikings or something like this. Whoever came up with the word, but I can't probably go make this like the same that it's a sword where it's stored in. What's that? They call it this thing that vagina says they put something whatever. It's like it's kind of weird. I'm not joking. It's like this is actually a Swedish word. So it's like the word for sheep is also a word uh, for like a female genitalia with it up. But it's like it fits because it's something that's I'm not gonna do like the figure copies. Like that, we do like this, and then it's like we said the same time, to move. So you saw somebody do this at some point in school. Here's the point. I don't have to do that. You get the idea. No, it's the point. So the exact point is this. What is this? For crying out loud. So yeah. Uh, okay. Mike's two picks. Okay. Okay. Mike's two picks. Okay. Weapon knife for all person carry 24/7. Okay. Weapon pick limited to I can only pick a meter weapon. Out of all the ones I have in my home, that will count as a meter weapon. The spear. Okay. And there's an actual use of force scenario, which I've used when talking about this before. There's a YouTube video where there's like somebody's filming from inside an apartment, and there's a guy climbing a ladder. Let's say YouTube video, okay. And it's like for a while I was like, wow, Chinese food or something. I saw it. I don't think I was looking for it, but it's like a video shows up. And there's somebody filming, and somebody's like climbing up the balcony with a ladder. And it starts with like a verbal thing, okay? So it's like there's a video of somebody filming from inside an apartment, and like down the balcony, and there's a guy who's standing there saying, I'm coming up there, damn it, or something like this. Okay. It's like, you're not coming up here. So it starts like the guy going like, you're not coming up here. I'm coming up there, damn it. Okay. Now make it more fun and like uh, lighthearted, okay. Now it's not how it felt like to be in a situation. I support for them for sure. But it's like the starts out with a guy filming. Like my stream, sometimes it happens I go live because my door thing. Okay. And I'm a total video, so I like to go live. So if something weird's gonna happen, like a neighbor, that happened once. I had a neighbor, an old guy, come, what's the noise? Okay. And I'm training. Okay. And it was before 2100 hours. And it's like the lease says up to 22. It was the old guy coming, what's the noise about? And I'm like, I'm training, okay. So I'd rather have that interaction video than not. Why? Well, let's say the guy calls the man on that day. Yesterday I went to ask this guy about noise. He pulled his pants down, showed his dick to me, and I said he's gonna kill me tomorrow. Okay. And be like, oh, it says that old guy. He said it's his word against yours. He accused you of this. I go, well, I'm saying it didn't happen. Possibly. Do you understand? So just to have like a digital witness of things, I like to have that, especially total video. Now we're getting into TI survival stuff. Where if you're total video, you have to be able to document things. So if there is a sudden need to document something, you should have the ability to. It's better to have the ability to suddenly start documenting something than to not have the ability. If that is the cops show up and act weird to you, or it's something the program does to you, it's like you won't be able to document it. Okay. So anyway, it's the point. So yeah, one thing that anyway, it's the point. So like if you think like that, it's happened a few times when something happens and I start a live stream. Like on my phone, like this, boom, okay, YouTube do the go live, boom, okay, see it like this. Okay. So it could be something like this. There's a video, it's a guy, and it's like here's the scene. Guy is a video, okay, handheld phone video recorder most likely. And it's like goes out on the balcony. There's a guy who is walking circles outside. Like, I'm coming up there. It's like you're not coming up here. I'm coming up there, damn it. Okay. It's like this starts out with like a maybe 15, 20 second conversation. and it's high stress. Like, I'm coming up to, no, you're not. I'm coming up to. Suddenly, guy appears like some kind of Houdini guy. He's got a ladder from somewhere. Okay, like some kind of a budget SWAT team, one man budget SWAT team. Okay, where it's like he got a ladder that he's gonna breach by the method of like suddenly putting the ladder up and breaching via the balcony. Okay, see, as a one man guy. Okay, and immediately only budget SWAT team, and it's like all you have is one guy, one ladder, and very rudimentary weapons. Okay, so anyways, the point. Suddenly, he manifests a ladder from somewhere in the middle video. Oh, guy's got a ladder, and the plot thickens. So the guy said is coming up. Now it seems more credible that he's going to be able to pull this off. Okay, see, so it's like he goes from the ladder, puts against the wall, he starts climbing the wall. Okay, he gets and the guy here. Okay, here's my commentary. The guy stands on his balcony and films like over the corner. He's like, I told you not coming up here, okay? And the guy is like on his way up the ladder, okay? At the top of the ladder, he unsheaths a knife, like surprise. And like from the video, it appears that the guy might have been stabbed. But like he shows up and like, and it's like, I got stabbed. Like the guy is shocked. The guy is filming, but like the guy climbs up, he's filming, gets all the way up and says, "Oh, I got stabbed." Okay, and he's shocked, and he starts retreating into the balcony. And from the verbal on that, I don't see blood or the knife going to his body, but it's like the guy moves. He's like, "I got stabbed." So he goes into the apartment, and he's still like retreating and filming the whole way. Okay, and there's a woman there locks herself in the bathroom. It must be like the door there. Okay, and the guy is down the balcony, and the guy still who got hurt is like filming. Okay. Now the guy has like leaped over from the ladder. He's on the balcony, and his clothes locked in the balcony door with most glass. And it's still like his shield is the phone. Okay, this is one man with his only weapon and defense is the phone and verbal judo. So that's the point. That's all he's using. Okay, so he's filmed through the balcony glass, which would be like this glass, okay, from inside. And the guy's out there and like looking for something. I guess he gets like something like a rock or like an ashtray or something like this. And like hurls it through, or if he uses the knife that he has, but he breaks the window. And the guy is still like filming from the inside. Now the window has been breached. And it's retreating further into the apartment. The woman starts herself at the bathroom. And then now the guy with the knife is like at the door that the girl had locked herself at, the bathroom door. And he's standing kind of 6 feet away, filming the guy from the side. Okay. Now he's might be in shock. It's a traumatic event, and he didn't plan or strategize or train for something like this. He wasn't ready, and that makes him more likely to be going to shock or freeze response, like fight, flight, freeze form, flight, freeze. Okay, so you're better able to respond with aggression if you have practiced aggression response and have kind of greased the wheels to go down that path if it needs to. Understand, because you might default to just look at what's happening or run or something like this. And it might be better to have like a better option, like ready for fight response if it needs to be. So that's the point. So what could have changed if you take the same scenario? So this is similar to what I see people do, like active self-protection. The guy who used to be really out of shape and got in shape. Okay, maybe he listened to the comment section. I saw quite a lot of people to be like, this guy is like a fat guy talking to us about how to be good at fighting people, something like this. Do you understand? So that possibly took it hard advantage. It's like, okay, it's like that's enough. I'm getting in shape. Okay, so whatever he did, okay, kudos to you, got in shape. So they like, you can't say anything about the guy who's out of shape. It's like the guy who used to be out of shape. It's not the same thing. So it's important. Active self-protection. And he's like cash spender, it's called, like, protect your ass or something like this. Okay. So anyway, here's the thing. So if you apply the same scenario, so meaning he talks about things in this, roughly the same type of genre, where it's like how to defend yourself. Here's my thoughts. Look at this CCTV video of a guy coming with a machete in a gas station, start attacking people. And look, this guy responds like this. If you did this, I think it would be like so funny. Do you understand? So it's that type of stuff. So if you apply the same scenario where an internet hater shows up on a sudden, like to track me down, okay, and it's like I'm here, I hear like because somebody screaming out there, and I go like start my live stream with my phone, I go out there, and it's like the same thing. Okay, if there's a different scenario with it, we have to talk about differently. But like same thing happens. There's a guy's like it's me. The guy said fuck you in the comment section. He told me go fuck yourself. I'm here to settle scores for this. I'm coming up to fight you. I'm like, go away. I don't want to talk to you. I'm coming up. And he shows up with a ladder, puts against the wall, and starts climbing. Now I would already have a knife on my body, see. So it wouldn't be that like if I just do you understand? If I stand here on the balcony and like I choose to just stand until he comes up and is this close to talk to me, like I would have a body, I would have a weapon on my person. So like at the latest was like, oh, I just got stabbed by the guy. Okay, like a magic trick. I didn't know I had a knife, just moved and I saw I got stabbed. I'd have a weapon to reactively pull and stab him back. See? Okay, at the very least. And if you got stabbed, maybe not I'd be like, oh, okay, so I get a second chance. I got to slide down the stairs for this. So it's better to have a weapon than to not have one if you end up in a weapon fight. You see? So he ended up in a weapon fight all of a sudden without having a weapon. Okay. And that's worse than being in a weapon fight, having a weapon a lot. Okay. So Uh, another thing that could have happened is if he, it's like if the guy starts walking up there, it's like, I have a knife on me, I have a spear. Close the back of the door, less than 30 seconds, I can have the spear and be back here. And if you imagine how the same scene is playing out, where it's like on the back, look from the back windows, I can defend the doorway and outrange him. So in this scenario, all I have was like a knife, like a larger knife. But like if he's gonna come to the back of the glass door that he broke or something, I can poke him, defend the kill zone. Like his body has to go through this window hole in the back of the door, and I can defend that hole with this spear, so he can't climb through without being stabbed with my spear, and he can't reach me with his knife. I can be poking him, like poking that hole all day. Do you understand? And like he can't get through because he's being stabbed every time he's trying. Do you understand? And it's like so he's gonna lose blood before I lose Carter. That's pretty cute, actually, what he's came up with. See, like as a villain line, it's like if you're doing this, the bad is like he's trying to get through, he gets stabbed every time he tries. Okay, he gets his arm, he gets stabbed in the arm. It's like, and every stab is losing deciliters of blood per minute. I mean, he's gonna lose blood faster than losing my cardio. Okay, I can do this for a long time. Okay, and this I can probably do like David Gogg's pull records, like how many for 48 hours. Okay, like this. At this pace, to stay rate of fire, I can do it all day. Okay, definitely. That's the point. My issue is this. Okay, that's the thing. All that to say this, it's important that if you're thinking about martial arts and fighting and what weapons are good, how to use them, and like some scenarios, like if this happens, which is good to have like some theorizing as part of training. What if this happens? What if two guys attack me? What if it's three? What if it's one guy with a gun? What if it's two guys with a gun? What if it's this? Okay, so you understand? Um, it's important that you remind yourself that you stay in reality. Don't get into like when you travel, you're watching kung fu movies mentality, where it's like just backflipping, like throw like a sword star his eyes, just got kill him in slow motion. I would do this, something like this, and then I can go to the kitchen and get the knife. Like that's the second bag. I gotta throw it into his eye socket. I can see the movie stuff like this. You can go back like this, stuff like this. I understand that it's very few people that will be this delusional. Okay, where it's like, yeah, I got knives at home. I'm ready. Okay. And it's like they possibly they cut the confidence just to feel that they end up pulling off like this off something like this. Okay, so it's like confidence is not a game plan. Okay, it's good to have confidence, but it's like, it can also be good to have like a game plan and get good at doing a few things that matter. Okay, so here's a point. Uh, this is the Fiskars K4 knife. This is not as good as a weapon knife. Why? Well, at a quick glance at the thumbnail, you might think it's like, oh, okay, I'm looking at Amazon, I search knife. And what I'm looking for is a fighting knife. And I see like these two thumbnails. It's like possibly to some people, this might look about as dangerous or good of a weapon knife. It might even look a little bit worse because it kind of looks a little bit sharper, can look sharper, appear to be a sharper weapon. Okay. Due to like what you say, like the wide grind or stuff like this. And also it's a bit longer. Now, from testing this with impact training once again, like they talk about not just doing shadow boxing and imagining things, but once I figure out like this like hammer fist sideways is something you can use. So from here, for example, somebody's approaching you, throw the head out like this. Here, it's not a hard sell, and that's an effective technique. But it works like a hook, where if the guard is here, you can still get behind and stuff like this. So if you can touch here with the knuckles, you can touch here with a knife. There. So this landing here, especially, is dangerous. So if you have this, for example, here, and then do this, okay, or even from the front here, it's like that's a technique. Now I'm not just keep it like I'm content in my mind. It's like yeah, definitely. It's like you can already know like what makes sense or not, or should. Or it's like okay, hold the knife like this. If someone's like starting out holding knives, what grips makes sense, how to wield it. Like if you arrive at like hold it like this, and then having this as a goal, and go like this, it's like okay, start over, okay. Because if you would try it out, in reality, it's like oh, you lose the knife like 9 or 10 times if you try that. If you're moving it fast enough to cut with it, like seriously, you're also losing the knife, okay. So, anyways, the point. Uh, what makes this not that good of a weapon knife is for that use as some cold steel knives. Okay, I didn't test this as heavily, but I've tested heavily enough. Okay, to know that it's not like weak. Okay, using this for impact trading, which means having a bookshelf and stabbing like this, stab like this, and doing slash stab combos on the bookshelf like a slash, and it's like the MDF like pressed uh, like this material, MDF, I think it's called, wood. And then start from this guard, slash, punch, cut, slide off, return with a stab from this angle, for example. And it's like, so it's like really impact trading. After doing a lot of that and like hitting boards, like stabbing wood boards, different angles, I had the tip bent on one of the fish knives and one of them snap off. Okay. So I have one knife in the drawer like this where it's like flat. Okay. It's a flat tip now. And then if I have the other one or not, but one of them was bent. So it's like a hook. Okay. So it's like bent sideways. What does that mean? Well, return to like what matters with knives penetration ability. Penetration ability. I had like one of these things error refresh page. Okay. So penetration ability matters. So this right now is a good. It's a decent shape for penetrating. Okay. Now, if it becomes flat and this breaks off and becomes flat there, it's suddenly a lot less good at penetrating. Okay. Or if it becomes bent to the side like a hook, even a little bit, it's suddenly not as good at penetrating. So, and remember, you're not fighting naked people, somebody. You're not kind of best case scenario reading for that. Okay. It's like if you're trading knife, you should be thinking about, well, if the guy has a leather jacket or like a thick hoodie or a winter coat because it's the winter or something like this. Okay. See, not like only think about the guy in a tag top because there's certain like lighter techniques and slashes that like is going to do more. But if it's like a guy in a winter coat with a thick hoodie on or something like this, it's like notice how now the stabs become more feasible. Like you go to that if you know it's like the thing you're gonna be trying to get into the body and create bleeding. If you knew that like a thick hoodie and a thick winter coat, you're more likely to pick as an attack like stabbing than slashing. Okay, so I'm not trying to make it sound like slashes are pointless. Okay, like a lot of the combos that are real, are have potential to be effective on bound twos, but the first attack is the slash and the second one is the stab. Like slash stab, slash stab, slash stab. So like half of the attacks is a slash in certain drills. It's like slash stab, okay, or slash stab or something like this, or 12 to 6 slash stab, okay. Uh, now a lot of times during combos, it's stab, 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 or something like this. So repeated stabs. That's important. A dagger is a good knife. And that's not just something, if I need to defend it even more, I just like, why about like over defend something right now? Uh, Fairbairn Sykes, okay, you can go with that. In World War One, when they figure out trench fighting, I call it extreme CQB. So you can go ECQB, where it's like within touching distance, close combat better, to be like even more precise. So it's like not whatever so you might call it 20 yards, whatever. So it's like really like touch distance. So for trench racing, that was a good one. Well, it's like to explain it here. It's not like maybe now in Iraq. It's like, hey, your squad is tasked to control this area. And then the radar comes on. Okay, you need to breach the building here. And you can do it the safest way. And pick, like, you can take your time if you need to. Or you can split your stack. One will go cover this area, go the other one go here. You notice you can have more like free play in some sense. It's not like, it's like just do it. It's okay, right now, rush or something like this. Okay. So, wise men say all the fools rush and support. But basically, so now here's another thing. I thought about this too. Meditate on the ultra morals of this. In Napoleonic era warfare, it's more impressive to me. That type of warfare, like the soldiers that type, because that the discipline, because the discipline required in like linear warfare was like you can think it's a football field distance, and you have a line of guys with muskets, and I look at another guy guys with muskets, and it's like in modern warfare, if you come under fire, you have to like jump into prone position, take cover, like oh, there's a rock, get behind the rock, guys, and I get somebody to like lay down suppressive fire over there, and then the other start working with somebody. No, now it's like, do you understand? It's more normal. It's like it makes more sense. It's like, oh, bullets are flying, zoom, and I can jump, like I can get down. See, I can crash down if I'm almost hit by stuff. Or like I see something coming, I can jump out of the way or something. And it's not like that's forbidden. Okay. Or like, do you understand? It's just more like makes sense that like if in war now in the Ukraine, if you have Ukrainians like walking somewhere and their job, somebody tells you the job is to capture this trash, they could be like, well, we're picking this route, okay, because it's safer. There's some kind of like freedom there. Or they can say, okay, let's support linear warfare. Like the job is right now is to stand with perfect posture here, okay? That's your job right now. And then wait for the orders. And they're not allowed to move until you get an order to move, okay? See? And it's like you're waiting, you see the guys to the other side doing this, okay? See? Okay. Like they're close enough where you can see them doing this. So you know what that means because you're the guy who's got the same job, okay? Or you've been doing it 10 times already, see the effect on the other side. They do this and then like this, okay. And it's like, and your job is still to maintain good posture and stand erect like this. And you're still just your job is just to wait for an order to like raise your weapon or something like this. Now you're allowed to raise your weapon. So like you're just waiting for this guys to fire like in front of you. Like bang. And like maybe a third of your line just fell. It's like if you would look, I don't know if you would not look, okay. Like if you okay. So it's still like you stand here. It's like the guy next to you fell down. So it might be like a third of your line got decimated by this like volley that just got launched at you. Okay, like a third, and you can also hear that, so the psychological impact with the guys like screaming for their life. Discipline goes so far. Human beings in extreme pain, like discipline, be damned, they were making noises. Okay, there's no discipline that can keep from making noise if the pain is significant enough, like burn wounds, something like this. Okay, so that's the point. Or like gasp for air or something like this. So that's the point. So in that time, they like just stand and line up. Guys are lining up in front of you and start loading up, and you're just standing there. And you know what they're gonna do? They get in position. They're gonna fire a volley at you at your line. And you can see from how they line up too that they're going to be engaged your line. See, so that's the point. Or they can be a cavalry with like 75 horses with guys on them with lances. Come show up in here, like charging you, like a formation like this. Oh, they're coming for us. And still, you're not allowed to use it, okay? See? See? It's like it's a cavalry charge. You still didn't get the order to move. So this is part of warfare. Do you imagine what type of discipline that takes? To be like, it's like you have maybe a 10% chance of survival, but it's like you're not even thinking about statistics. Like you just focus on like okay. So that's how they used to be in linear warfare, in political warfare. Pike and shot. Like just stand there, wait for the guys to fight. Now you might go, okay, ready or so whatever it is. So like ready, okay, fire or like ready, arms, advance. Okay, they was like, okay, now you're like walking, and then they'll be like fire, and you're not allowed to shoot until you get the order to shoot. And there might be some orders, so it's like fire at will or something like this. Okay, but that was like the standard. So that was more kind of like static and rigid in a lot of ways, and I think this is a different thing. But just one of the most striking things is the discipline required in soldiers. You got to stand and wait to get like a hail of bullets at you, and then maybe now your commander like orders you to advance and then turn right and then shoot or something like this. And then also just to walk at the enemy at a slow pace, not once, walk, not run. Like the enemy lines, and then some are ready to shoot already if they get the order, and others are in the process of loading. And like just to walk at them in a marching pace, and then wait until a certain distance, not say stop and fire, and now you don't have a bullet, and now you might get the order to charge. Now you're going to rush them and engage in media conversations. So the amount of discipline it takes to like have stand still and have fire coming at like zing and things like this, and like bang, hearing impact, like seeing pink mist, and like maybe an arm flying here, and also like the cannonballs, the effects of cannonballs, and at group formations. It'd be like a cannonball, it'd be like bowling. See? It's like it would be like an explosion, even if it's a solid object, crashing into human bodies. It'd be similar to an explosion. It would be like body parts can fly and things like this and that, stuff. So, but that's a different type of thing. So that's the point. Um, and already then they figure out the spears are effective pike and shot. And they can be effective up to horses. Okay, if the call of the spear is if it's a serious spear enough, it can be effective against horses. Okay. So it's like what size of man can a spear be effective against? A horse, okay. Say what type of but it's like what type of size? If it's a really big dude, how big is a horse? Okay. A spear can be effective against a horse, okay. Okay, these few guys are as big as a horse and weigh as much, okay. So a pony weighs more than oh, okay, you might imagine. And that's like the smallest type of horse you can find as an adult. It's kind of cute, by the way. Like, that would be like, I can't even say what I was about to call it. You know, the M word for a small horse. Okay, okay. And then I had different types of so that's the point. Yeah, okay. All that to say this, but you look for a good melee home defense weapon, I recommend a spear. Okay. Why a spear? It's easy to be effective with, untrained. Boom. Okay, that's the simple. It's easy to be effective with untrained, without any training. Okay. It's like this, it's a stick, it's very like instinctive. It's a stick, it's a pony stick, it's got a steel tip at it. And it's like you're looking at what you want to hit and push it at it, you see. It's pretty instinctive. Okay. It's not that like you have to train skill to have a chance to hit somebody with a spear. If you have a stick and it has a knife at the end of it, it's not like you have to train to have a chance to hit a torso in front of you the first time you try it. Say, okay, it might be more likely that you pull it off the first time you try it. Like in a normal scenario, not like worst case scenario. Somebody's moving sideways and it's super fast or something like this, and you having it in one hand. So a spear is the same thing as a knife, see. And what are some advantages of a spear? Even more penetration. Okay, so penetration is good. So even more penetration and range. Okay, so it's the same like stabbing you can do, only more powerful stabs and at a greater range. So if you have a machete, still I'm gonna be able to touch you with my spear before you can touch me with the tip of machete. If you have a baseball bat, I'm going to be able to touch your ball with my spear before you can touch me with your baseball bat. Okay. You have a knife. Okay, things like this. So a spear is a good home defense weapon. Now here's another thing that I get into now. That is more like training if you're looking to get. Now I want to finish this too. You don't want a heavy war spear as an amateur, like if you pick a spear. Like some kind of a war spear that Hila people use, like the heaviest one you can have, some kind of challenge if you or something like this. Like a light spear, light and nimble spear is better, as far as I'm concerned. It's easier to wield by somebody who's not super strong. And it's not like you should have an ego thing. Well, I feel like that's a weak guy spear. And I'm not going to pick that one. No, a light spear that's nimble, it's better. It's like it's easier to wield with one hand in different ways from awkward angles and so this. So it's easier to be effective with it because it's light. Okay, and use it with one hand. If one hand is injured, you only have one hand. You can use it with one hand. It's easier to use it with this hand and poke with it, like the non-dominant hand, like southpaw. if it's light than if it's something heavy on top of being like unwieldy and awkward to move with your left hand, something like this. So a spear is easy, it's like a stick. You poke people with the stick, you're causing damage. It's kind of straightforward and back and forth again, okay? So it's important. Um, and forget about throwing it for most intents and purposes, okay? Meaning, if there would be a guy jumping through the window, you see the window right now, I still wouldn't turn and throw it as that's what I would go for. Okay, okay. I might like turn around and like get into a post like this and then get something or work with it. But like, it'd be very unlikely that it's like, oh shit, the someone comes to the window and like turn and like throw the spear at them because they're at a range. Even if they're at a range now, where I could like have it's like if you have a spear and you have an advantage against most melee weapons, you don't want to like give up that advantage by throwing away the weapon at the chance that's maybe 10% that you will hit a serious area. Also, if you hit the wall, now you just gave the person spear. If the person is through you that, like you get into a fight, and for some reason you have your spear, and the person machete, if it's like 20 plus yards trying to throw the spear, and it gets to the wall next to them, and they grab it, now they have the spear, to throw it back at you, and they still have the machete or something like this. Or they have the spear now, and you don't have the spear. So a lot of times with weapons, same with knives, it's rare that I recommend. Yeah, okay, here's my ideology on home defense with spears and knives. Have a spear and knife. If a guy comes through the window, throw the spear, then pull and throw the knife right after. See, because it's like it just doesn't make sense. It's like you're better off holding on to the weapons most times. Okay. Now, is it better to be able to be effective throwing a knife, using a knife as a throw weapon than to not? Yeah, of course. It's better to have more moves. Okay. It's better to be able to do more things than to be able to do less things. Now, there's also a thing about better muscle with the spear than the jack of all trades and stuff like that. So here's the point. A spear is good. Okay. A spear is good. Okay. So knife fighting, spear fighting is knife fighting with a knife with a super long round handle on it. Okay, see, okay, that's pretty much what it boils down to. It's knife fighting with a knife with a super big head on it, pretty much like this. And it has that explosions come out. Actually, I can see the gun work on it. That's the point. Yeah, so forget about sword. If you have a spear, I would recommend you throw it. I saw a video too, where news report, and this is after I made my videos about recommending spears for home defense. Okay, for people like limited to melee weapons, I'm looking for a melee weapon for home defense. Okay, I saw a video show up on YouTube, CNN, what about this like Wake F7 Force Wichita, what about this like local news channels, and they're interviewing a guy and he's got an RV, and it's like, oh, here's the blood trail. Yeah, so there's a guy who comes through the door in the middle of the night. I have a spear. I trained with spear martial arts, and it's like I stab him with it, and he starts running away. And you can see the trail of blood here. Then on the door, and he got out the door. So it's like, okay, there at least one like home defense scenario where a spear was proven to be effective. Now there was also a guy who was having a spear because he was doing some kind of martial arts shape with it, and I don't know if he was doing like shadow boxing uh, stuff type martial arts, or if he was doing like HEMA. But like the proof in the pudding, he was able to pull it out with the spear and it worked the way he wanted to. So, spears and daggers, okay. Mike SAHA Live, A Tale of Spears and Daggers. Home defense, okay. Castle doctrine in your mind, home defense, and more. So, yeah, it's the same. It's still winning. So, here's the point. This is a Fiskars K40. I'm not trash talking Fiskars, like Fiskars. This in a pinch could be used as a weapon. But if you would hit a bone here, this is more likely to stab off a back than this, is what I'm saying. So this is more trustable as if you stab into like a bone that the tip could survive and you're not going to end up with a bent tip or snap off tip. So now that's not saying something bad like trash talking Fiskars company. Because if Fiskars will sit down at the side table and be like, hey, next knife, let's make a fighting knife. Okay. And most right now they do like gardening stuff and things like this. It's like they will do. Okay. But it's like this, they didn't design it to be a weapon. So you don't judge a scissor that was designed for office paper cutting. It's like, well, it's like, I tried stabbing a wood wall with it, and like the two scissor blades broke off in the middle, and it's just, okay, so it's like, it sucks. Or something. Well, if they would have said that would make a scissor to be used as a throw weapon, it might have made it different, okay? So you don't judge people, like, rate them as like, this guy sucks because they didn't time their tree less than 10 seconds if he's not trying to, okay? You understand? That's the point. Okay, I update you all. So that here is points. Point kind of point. Boiling down to this, recommend what I think is the best knife design if I had to pick one. A dagger. At best melee home defense weapon would be a spear, as far as I'm concerned. If I could pick one type of knife to have on my person for as a weapon, it would be a dagger. Possibly I pick a big one if like it's the only one I can have for the rest of my life. Okay. Because you have to expand like the application field of it. Um, and a home defense spear. Okay. A spear could be used as a weapon too. Now here's what I want to get to with the spear, okay? I would recommend for home defense, you go for a light spear. And this do-it-yourself crackhead loadout, do-it-yourself spear, okay? So I'm making the joke before somebody comment section makes next time I check it after I upload this video, okay? So, okay. So this is like one of the advantages of this. It's cheap. It's like most people. It's up high in the sky. Somebody's watching this. It's like they're paranoid. They're like a 12 individual in France. It's legal to have spears there. Okay. And like, yeah, the police said, I'm going to send people breaking my house and kill. I got nothing. And they watch this video. So, okay, bro. You got like a broom handle at home. Most people already have something like a broom handle. They might have a broom handle attached to the broom handle to get the broom head off of it, something like this. Okay, all you need is a broom handle, string, duct tape, and a knife. And you got a formidable weapon with a little bit of elbow grease and as little blood as possible. Sweat, tears, like that, you mix it in at your own, like how you like the recipe, but no blood in the recipe of construction. Okay, you heard about blood, sweat, and tears before as you're working to do something. So that's the point. Uh, okay, so like the liquid ratio in terms of the recipe, like the elbow grease, is like that's it, as you prefer to preference. Okay. I don't know, like they normally don't take a shower the more grease you have to get, I guess. So it's like it depends on how much you tend to work. Maybe don't take showers for 2 weeks before you start working for the bar. But it's important. It depends on how much of the grease you're gonna need. I would be surprised if someone's got like a grease gland. This sounds like a grease guy. Like there's like they got like a grease gland. They like okay, they come like they like their grandfather was like a car mechanic or something like this. Like they've been leaving the garage for many generations. Like they grow like a grease pad on the elbow, stuff like this. Okay. It was like selective breeding. It's like they can squeeze it and it comes like a VD4 or something like this. Also kind of like so human thing like a torso gland. Okay. And then that's the grease. I actually had come across myself called the grease monkey or something like this. Like they think it's a bad water. Monkey anything I take it's a bad water. Like I see like the picture like a silverback run across the field like this. It's like doing impressive athletic feats and things like this. It's like you're not gonna insult my a monkey. That's the point. Uh, here's the point. My wife actually sometimes has this with a look of amazement and like Jane the Tartar. Look like monkey. Like that kind of energy, if I call a monkey. Most times by my wife. And I'm exercised stuff like this. And my wife was like, you look like a monkey or something like this. I go, yeah, okay. Like this, I'm kind of my coworker. So yeah, and my wife told me because I look like monkey. Maybe if I was a black man, it was the first time she said it, I'd be like take the wrong way. But it's like after it's like said it first time, so he looked like monkey. And I go, it's like really he goes, yeah, monkey strong, okay. It looked like a monkey. I get it. She means like a gorilla or something like this. Gorilla. She said gorilla. quite a while. A gorilla would be bigger, like a chimp would be actually closer to like the actual. Like if you put a gorilla and then a chimp, it would be like more like a chimp. Yeah. Now even chimps, if you see like a chimp made some type, that's you can have that closer in gym more. If you got fitness course, like to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger, you get like a picture printout of like the Charlie the chimp. This guy called Charlie the chimp. No, no, Django, Jambo, Jumbo, Jambo. Then you search hairless chimp and see a video of what a chimp what a hair looks like. Okay. They're like bodybuilder in the sky. So all that hair is how they do. It's like they gotta be cheesy physique chimps. Also, remember here's something about like even though it's a disease, alopecia or whatever it's called, with names, whatever you got. But for some reason, some of the apes lose hair. Supposedly, the female chimps, it's like the males with that disease have greater attractors to the chimp women. So the chimp women are more likely to attract the hairless chimp because I guess with the muscle definition, okay, it's like bodybuilder. I think that's the case. But like a chimp without hair, it's like it looks more impressive. Like you said, it's more like chisel bottom athletic chimp because it's not covered by the hip. Okay, so it's like okay. Now, why do you think bodybuilders shave? That's or do Brazil like stuff like this. Anything they can do to enhance, like get 1% more of like impressiveness of their physique. They oil themselves up, they shave the baby oil, the wax, anything they can do. Pump, like anything they can do to get like an extra 1% of like aesthetics out of the physique. That is important. We're getting to bonus runs here, just like making bonus. It's important. Spear for home defense. I want to finish on this spear talking point. So recommended melee weapon spear. Okay. And how do you make a spear? You need a broom handle, a roll of duct tape, a shoestring or paracord, or steel gauge wire, or hemp cord. Ultimately, better yet, if you have a hot glue gun and hot glue. Okay, that's the secure. They can make it even more secure. But at worst, a roll of duct tape, uh, a broom handle, and a knife. Okay, and it's not rocket science. Or you can attach it there. So how I attach this, and it's held up to martial arts use and stabbing tires and wood boards with it and things like this repeatedly. This is as a base, it's hot glue. So basically, how to. Now here's like the more like optimal, and it's gonna sound like it's a bigger part than this when I talk about it because I've kind of maximized different things to make it stronger. So first of all, this knife is kind of flat to begin with. It's not that round, okay, which is good. Now on top of that, the same knife that I'm using as the spear tip, I've cut the wood to be flat here, which you might not be able to see. When I make a flat little cradle for it, or a dock where it can go in there. So like this. So the first thing is applying hot glue. After shaving, make it flat. You don't have to make it flat, but it makes it more secure because if it's flat or round, it's like it can move more. If it's like flatter, it's more secure. If you like just push force, apply force downward, it's more secure. This is okay. So make it flatter ultimately. Now there's a point of mission returns where if you cut too much, remove too much wood material, it makes the tip weaker, okay, more like to break. There's like a golden medium where you don't use too much, but just a little bit to get a little bit of a flat surface there, you can do that, okay? Cut it like this. You get the hot glue gun. Apply hot glue liberally at the end. One side, a flat side. Attach the knife handle, and now you quickly align it before the hot glue sets. You have like not that much time to get it right and then keep it right. So hot glue, get the knife there, put it on the hot glue, line it up the way so it's like right there you want it, and then you squeeze and hold, and now you keep it the way that you want. Okay. Once it's set, you have it there. It's just the hot glue holding it there. Now you can get some duct tape around it, shoestring or shoelaces, some rope around it. Okay, reinforce it, or the steel gauge wire, more hot glue, and then to finish it off like a duct tape. And this like duct tape, hot glue, and some type of string, and it's super secure. I used it for stabbing tires, it's for stabbing wood. I'm gonna stab some tires right now, as a matter of fact. So here, see, and tires. I can see why the Raiders in like the video game Fallout 3 use tires as their armors, like the video game characters. It's like it really works as armor, stabbing a tire. I've stabbed other things like wood and stuff like this, and there's a lot of things that you slide through them. But tires is like it's more bounces off and doesn't penetrate them all. But from here, there's no sign of damage to it. Nothing snaps or breaks off. So this is it's like a workman's pride, you could call it. Like I made this, okay. I made this. I've used it. I stabbed with it, and it's like it's just a juice, yeah, okay. Which what I had maximized, I made a functional, formidable weapon that's what held up to intense use. Okay, so this is. Now I also added aesthetic jimpy, or whatever you want to call it, at the back, which is that's like a final touch. It is mostly for symbolism, where you could count like the grooves at the back of it. And it might be referencing certain Bible verse, or maybe not, or something like this. So it's like this is that like a finishing touches where people might not be able to know why it's there. Okay. Unless you tell them, and the reason you tell them could be like a rabbit trail or just to troll. So here's the point. My point is this: there's no real point. Like you don't have to file like something down at the back of it, like this. That's not really important. That's something I end up doing for a goof or for some reason. So anyway, here's the point. Here's another thing. Some of the knives that people think would be the better fighting knives is a lot of the aesthetics that it looks dangerous. Or it could be like a knife, like the Rambo knife or something like this. Like this type of knife that have like it looks like big teeth at the back of the blade. Might just feel more dangerous. Now here's the point. A knife like that can be less stronger. Uh, and also, I think if you think about a fighting knife, if you have like big teeth, especially certain designs of teeth, it's like backward saw teeth on a knife, and you stab or something like this. There's something you can get caught in clothing, say. So if you're wanting to stab repeatedly, and you have this saw teeth at the back of it, and you stab through once, as you retract, it's more like to get caught in some tough fabric, and like you get caught in fabric. Because if you're stabbing through fabric, and you have like these big teeth in there, it can get caught in fabric, understand? So you want a slippery blade really, and not like several like hang up points that could get like snag on something. And that's my thinking. And it can be more or less of an issue depending on the size of the teeth. But if you would look at if you do a blade like this, for example, they might look more dangerous, okay? Like more like a movie knife, okay? If you go like this, for example. Let's say this, okay? This might look like more like a badass, dangerous knife that has like that tip and like these teeth at the back of it. So we're finishing here. Here, okay. See, this is a knife. It might look like more badass and dangerous and weaponry, but if you think about it, if you be stabbing with it, those teeth can snag on clothing. Like if the tip starts sliding through the clothing, the teeth can get stabbed because the teeth are not cutting. The teeth can get caught in clothing. So pushing or pulling, it can get caught in things. They will be able to slide in and out several times. So aesthetics don't win fights. Okay. Okay. Now sometimes what is a good thing has a certain aesthetic to it. Okay. So here's the point. The cold steel mini dagger is roughly 2 liposomal vitamin C sachets long here. Okay. It's closer to 2 than to 3 if you're going to use that as a measurement. See, this is 3. So it's closer to 2 liposomal vitamin C lengths than 3. Okay. And compared to what else? Here's a single-use napkin. There's a 10 pack of uh, napkins, and it's about this big. So I'm losing my interest in this. I feel like I've done like overdone the job here, overkill of talking about daggers and spears and having not a long time doing it. Okay, not that I'm doing it. So if you're looking for home defense weapon, melee weapon, Sweden legal, without a license, without any problems. Okay, legally a melee weapon you can have at home as a home defense weapon. No problems, okay? It's legal to have it at home. Make it, buy it, have it at home. A spear, okay? And that's one of the most effective home defense weapons you can have. Now they have gardening tools. Like some people that have like a tool shed, they might have like a pruning hook that looks like a scythe or something like this. Now it's still harder to be effective with. It's like a curved blade they use like tool cut things. And it's like kind of round at the tip. So if you do this, it's not stabbing. So remember, you want the thrust, okay? And cold steel has more spears. Cold steel has more spears. So these are more like rugged and stuff. It's like you can make an effective spear yourself as a project and maybe do it as a personal development things. If you're a guy that's like not good at making things happen, like crafting stuff and building stuff, that's also part of masculinity and what women value. Like a guy that is like can get things fixed around the house or something like this. So if you're a guy that's like, yeah, just like you have no, you never fix a thing that was broken your whole life for this, maybe like this could be the first thing you do. If like a teenager for this, like yeah, make your own first spear. It's really this is something you guys spend your time doing. You'd be like, oh, make a birdhouse and put it in the forest. Okay, yeah, that might be okay. You got like a bird watch a YouTube channel, that might make some money or something like this. Now here's the point. I don't would be like a bad thing to pick. Like every man should make something a weapon at least once in his life. And there's something to that. That personal development. There's something to that. So I just like to recommend it. Make a spear, damn it, okay? So my daughter. Like if you're a young man or man or whatever, especially if you've never done something before. Like I made my own bow. I made my own bow before I was 50 years old. We're getting into brag now. So I made my own bow. Okay. Before I was 15 years old. Okay. See, I made my own bow before I was 50 years old. I think that's all the brag I will do in this video. But yeah, so basically, I say I know that there's something to that. It does something to like learn to be able to do things that's like core masculinity, like making a weapon, using it, trading with it. This appeals to the core in a man. I'm not gonna get too deep in philosophical and stuff, but I believe that there's something that is like core masculinity. It's like it's attached to weapons and armor and things like this. So the thing is this: why not take that as a product? Make your own spear, and the goal would be not getting hurt while making it or using it. Okay. So not only did I get hurt making this, I have gotten hurt using it. So if you're gonna make it, it's like high points is if you don't get hurt anywhere along the line. Okay. Secondly, it's like it's a strong spear. Now to the point with the spear. Now we're jumping to the end point here. So spears for home defense. Light spear, I already told you that. Light nimble spear is good. This is light and nimble and strong enough. I can use this with both hands, or I can use it with one hand. What is the advantage? I've talked about this before. With dual wielding, having a secondary. So this is the main weapon. This is dual wielding. So I'm used to having the spear in one hand and this knife in one hand. What is the advantage versus dual wielding it? Okay. Well, if you're charging me and I'm backing up here, or I'm just standing here waiting for you to launch, and you're charging me, and I thrust, and you just jump to the side, and it goes past like this. Okay, you make it miss. You like jump sideways to the side and miss, or something like this. Or as I thrust, it's like you're fast enough and you're able to like sweep and get out of the way, make it miss. I miss or do you understand? So if I go and miss and shoot to the side of you, you can grab the weapon, pull on it, disarm me. So in this, we can cover all kinds of stuff. I can waste my time. But if you end up being disarmed, losing, missing, okay, the person I go lunge, you come to the side of it, or like put that period out of the way as I'm stabbing at you. You push it out to the side. you're jumping at me and I got stabbed for this. Now, if I'm dual wielding it, so I'm going long range with this here, stabbing here, okay? And then this is ready in case this comes out of action, gets this on kicked or pushed or grabbed and pulled. See, I can close the distance. I'm ready to use the secondary weapon. So there is a value in dual wielding. We have the spear and then a secondary ready to use it. So don't try anything you see me do this slashing at home. Some of these things are risky. We talked about do yourself spears and home defense. Uh, I haven't decided if I'm going to take a break and be back or if I end this and then start a new one. But I feel like I'm not done streaming here. I want to get into possibly look at some horror movies. Okay. I brought this notepad out here and I don't want it to be just for writing down like a play design. See what we can do.
Let's check on like 3 hours. Sometimes I have to refresh the page.
It removes the comments I got before.
I had some comments before, I can't get them. I saw I got some comments before, I can see them now. It's kind of weird. Maybe for the better.
Yeah, so dagger knives are good. So I like this knife. It's my favorite knife thus far from all the knives I've owned. Okay, this is my favorite. Now I'd like to have like as a next knife if I buy a new knife. I'll buy quite possibly. I look for a bigger, and I don't. I already know they have it. They have several daggers. That are local. So this would be the small dagger they have that I can find. Um, Now they have several uh, different models or daggers, like the same general type of knife on the border. Okay, and that might be if I'm gonna buy a knife, I might be able to go for like a dagger on the border. So here get into the knife fighting and buy a dagger. Some advantage to dagger. It's good at punching. Okay. Also, it's easier to be dangerous with, and there's more ways to be dangerous. It's like there's techniques that work with a dagger that don't work. So there's more angles of attack. There's more ways to be dangerous with this limb, like in and out, left and right. Do you understand? So that's a good thing. Okay. So here's the point. For example, if I have this and you push, I go, the sound effects. So here, okay. I'll go for next. Wherever I start, like here, okay, and next step. Okay. Or if it goes from here, I have a goal, and then go for next step. Or I'm from here, and then it's suddenly go like over there. But speed is, I like speed. Okay, kind of like an ass doubles. Okay. Sometimes we do like the things you do around that are ridiculous if perfect. Third thing, nice point. That has put 8 point but so from here, maybe sometimes the best one to that go here to chamber this. Now, here's a point. So, if you just as a scenario, what happens? Let's say this is a guy's left, and I'm going for the next step as supporting from this like here, and his approach. I miscase the distance and miss, and I end up. It's not like a make this thing that's like completely ridiculous. But if you throw even punch sometimes boxers, they will be in front of the face or at a corner face you want aiming for. It might be aiming here, but I hit here for this, or behind him. So if it's moving target and you're going for stabbing it, okay, then you might hit with the forearm. Now, with a dagger, if I'm pulling straight back, I'm cutting back. See? If I have this position, how do I do this? By failing to stab it kind of behind the neck, here, it's like a close stand before. Because then it's very simple. Retract the arm, and I just cut it back, and I'm ready to punch cut forward again. Same if I go for a stab to the belly out here, and this way, same there, pull back, I'm cutting it. If it's sharp enough, it's more feasible. Okay? So it's more actually dangerous. Right? If I go for the neck and then I'm hard enough, pull back, I'm cutting. If I'm pushing forward, I'm cutting whatever's in front of me. If I'm pulling anything that's in the path of this is getting cut. And like I said before, there's also more ways to get hurt. So it's more risky to juggle than some other knives. It's more ways to be hurt. Um, yeah, and here's another thing. So in World War One, when they had French raids, I got off on that hiking shop. So World War One was another good war where they had French raids. It'd be like you're in the over the top. It's the same comes from World War One. Like you will have a over the top, okay? And then super blows a whistle. That means you're gonna like get over the top, like cross no man's land, and it might be that the order is like when you hear the whistle, get over the top, go to the top, run across no man's land, and get and start clearing. And it's like maybe a tenth of the guys trying maybe to the other side for this. So here's the point. It can also be like against men, of course, be more brutal. Like officers be like, yeah, three waves, okay. 100 guys wave one, we're expecting at best 1% of the first wave to survive to get to the other trench. Like to even set through the other trench. Second wave, we expect maybe a third of the men to survive somebody. So it's more like the mass of World War One was since like the first wave maybe like 1%. Second wave maybe it's a this. So anyway, it's a point. So that's a point I can check this. I have some sweat on my tongue to make sure this is good. Let's check. You got table nice. So there's a point. Yeah, so we go on, but yeah, we need like a knife for it. Okay. They end up with brass knuckles with a dagger, like a dagger blade. Okay. Like something that's like a sheath, something that's pointy and like kind of tailored for. A lot of times people you see like in American Christian stab more classic. So, um, Herbert Sykes, a fighting dagger used in a British command. And there's also a guy, what's the guy, the guy with the knives? There was a guy who was a cop in Shanghai, I think it was, the father of modern SWAT teams. And he was the guy who like invented a lot of uh, tactics, I think, in like knife fighting. Yeah, I don't have a fresh one. Daggers are good weapons, okay. So I love daggers. I might get a big one next. We'll see. I'm gonna play around with this, have this for a while and tend not to do it. And eventually I might get a bigger dagger. I have a long distance approach, so I'm not made of one. But this my spear. I'm gonna put it back in the bedroom. So the key takeaways we talked about effective, good knives, and all the knives out here. If you're looking for a knife, it's a fighting knife. I think dagger is a good knife. Okay. For fighting. Well, you have to have a good grip, and know it's like you don't like play around with it too much. And a spear is a good weapon from defense. Two key takeaways summarizing the life. A good fighting knife dagger. Okay. A good fighting knife dagger. And there's things that I can trust. tip to hold up and how long. Now we can go into brand types and ranges and price ranges. And this. But a good fighter knife is a type of knife, as far as I'm concerned. And a good home defense melee weapons is the best, if not top three. Right? If not top three, then not the best. If you're talking range weapons now, it's a different conversation. Like there's crossbows, there's long bows, there's short bows, there's slingshots, and it's like this is a completely different thing. Now, when a bow in a home defense scenario against like within 15 feet of this, at best you'd be able to get off one arrow before it's immediate. Okay? If somebody's like shortly coming in to get you, and you have a bow, like you can count on like at best being able to get off and just set fight to one arrow. Not even how effective you hit or not. But you can count on getting like a one arrow off before it's immediate battle. Okay. So it might not even be worth trying to get screened if somebody's trying to get into the house here or something like this. It might be better to get proper grip in a good position with a meter weapon. So a lot of us feel kind of especially on this six of this. Now at close range it's easy to hit than at long range, but anyway, it's important. Um, yeah, it's like this type of stuff that I end up to talk about it time flies, and I didn't. They said the opposite word was meaningful. I was intending it. I started out with kind of like a general outline. We've been doing some stuff, some decode on this. We've been doing some of that, but we didn't get like the main thing that I was gonna do. I was gonna be doing decodes over whole movies, which I've done before. I don't have to prepare. I've done a lot of this in off the top of my head. I was thinking about this time in the middle I should take a look at some horror movies and then like freeze framing and showing a scene and go like this is foreshadowing. Here's this hidden truth. This stuff. Show and tell. I've been talking about hidden truth in horror movies. Okay. And a lot of times it can be better also show some hidden truth. Okay. So what you do, I'm gonna go into a pit stop. I'm out of pressure and coffee. So I'm saying the truth, the info was the real not that is shown. It was on uh, vitamins and this good old elbow. This is a word I like. Once I discovered the term elbow, it's like I never fell out of my head. Okay. Okay, that about 80 cents. A cup of coffee is elbow. Here's another one. Before I store this away, I might well squeeze this into the video too while we're at it. So, another advantage of the spear is worst case scenario, you are melee only, okay? Defending against a handgun only intruder. You have a fighting chance in certain situations, like even against firearms, you could end up effectively defending if you don't have firearms, okay? I love to demonstrate. So the kill stuff, and I didn't invent that term, but basically, if the approach is the okay, my door is around the corner here. That's it. This is a concrete wall, which I kind of call it a counter, which means it stops bullets. Okay. Now, from here, here's a strong with my speed. I can reach around and touch the inside of my front door with the tip, which means I can defend the doorway from behind bulletproof cover, only exposing this much my body for a brief moment, which translates to okay. Which means that even with a spear in certain situations, it depends on your layout. Okay, you could put up a whole defense even against fires, because if we turn it on, okay, here now, see, if your job was to hit my arm with a pistol, and they have it like at the ready, or whatever you have it like this. They're waiting for me to break cover and like shoot at whatever appears. Okay, it wouldn't be the easiest thing to do. Do you understand? So come over here. Here. See, that's roughly facing neck level, and now I'm like flying. Now on the other side, what you can see is I'm gonna make a corner. I'll show you. Here. Hey, Mike, you make a corner sense with a spear, with a spear. Why not make it more hold defense and more speed? So here's what we do. So you see that curve there? Never mind the man behind the curve. That curve is behind that is my front door. See here. See. Okay. Now, if even somebody has a pistol behind there, if this is my long speed, you hear that sound? That means I'm the type of guy to knock on the inside of my door. Okay? So since I can walk on my inside door, notice my head, no other vitals are exposed. This is called a cut. This is concrete. Here, 9 millimeter bullet will not get through. This is concrete. So here, only my arm is out of cover, which means it's like this is visible to the enemy about this. And it can be at this level or this level. Say, see like this, for example. You can assume this here, bent knees, explode out of cover, retrieve, ready for the person to start slicing the pie and waiting for his fence to appear or something. And then that reactor comes in. This is strong for you can defend. And here, people can shoot bullets all day with the concrete. Okay, and it, with a needle especially, it's very effective. So from here, now you can come up to the ceiling here. Traders become more really. It feels really like this. This is one. So from here, for example, here, here, the main point is getting the point into the enemy without exposing a vital. Because I can survive the gunshot before, I can survive the gunshot to the hand, but I don't want to get a gunshot to the head if there's not a fire on the wall. So I can even peek cover to be more effective with this weapon. I can peek, see, here, peek, see, and then guide it here, okay, and then wizard it needed. So I'm not saying it's like it's a movie you would pull it off against someone with a guy I counter myself winning the fight. I'm saying it's like it's a lot more dangerous to clear this house with firearms if that's the end point and I'm standing with a spear. And it's like it's more dangerous than clearing the house if I'm sitting in a chair around a spear. You understand? So if you learn about the spear and like some strategy, and it's like there's going to be some specifics. Like what's the layout of your house? What's the range? You reach the door with your spear from over here. What's the wall you're behind made out of? So if it's a gypsum board, it's not going to stop bullets. But even against guns, you can defend the door with a spear the size of a ball. And there's other things that you can do that is like might be like you can come into part of the fast. But here's the point. I think I made my point. So I just made the point even better that I was making a video. And I showed that one of the best melee weapons for home defense is a spear. If I had only a knife here, to reach the door from behind cover, I would have to expose my body, meaning areas of my body that a bullet to this place could quickly get down the fight. So from here, if all I have is a knife, and I have a spear, which if I'm going to engage somebody in the door, I have to break cover, see, with the, oh, just my torso and my head to shoot that as a weapon. to be able to close the distance and engage the illegal weapon. So obviously, a spear is. I just showed you how a spear was better for home defense, for defending. Because if you have body cover, and here's the empty one, I can touch the doorway with the keyhole. Meaning, if somebody's outside the door, they need to get through this opening to get in. And I'm able to reach that opening with my weapon. And right now, no part of my body is reaching. So, so you understand, this is quality, this is strong point. It's easy to defend. In military strategy, there's certain basics. 3 to 1 weapon superiority. If you're going to besiege a castle or like capture a defensive position, you go for 3 to 1 weapon superiority. You need at least 3 times many men to capture a position as the men defending. Okay. Also, uh, the higher the quality of the defenses are, the fewer men you need to defend the area. If you're going to defend a beach, like Omaha Beach, for example, the higher quality defensive structure fortifications you have, the less men you need to put up a formidable defense on this structure. See, if you're like guys in the open, you need like more men. You have to hold off the allies for a while. If you like concrete bunks and trench systems and foxholes and sandbag with positions that you can get an MG up. So, uh, notice I even the spear will be more effective at that range. This like extended outside of a normal like melee range. You kind of like that here and a bow. Because if I have a bow, I still have to break cover to be able to be fair. It's like if it's a bow that's pound strength enough to be dangerous, like good luck pulling like this. Okay, you're not doing that. Like working something like this. I mean, if the bow is like powerful enough to like really hit hard, you're not gonna pull it like this and hold it around a corner like this and then let it like this. Okay, you're gonna have to engage your ball and pull with your ball, not only use the arm. Okay, so but all still you have to kind of see it or something like this and then if you're on. So yeah, even like if somebody versus has a gun, you're better off having a spear than only a knife, honestly. So a spear is one of the best home defense weapons you can have if you limit it to melee. Okay. And as I said, don't try anything you've seen me do in this live stream at home. I like to sandwich in the start disclaimer before and after something that somebody might think is dangerous. Let's go with the graph starts. I did disclaimer. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go to go make some coffee, get some vitamin C water. This I'm gonna store this away. It's like a lot of videos like this. I made videos like this before I made my school where I actually make a spear. Okay. Which is like even more calling how to so for this. And this time I just wanted to show the spear and talk about how to do it. Now it's like it shouldn't be where people are so lazy now intellectually. Like if I explain how to do something, like hey look, this how you can do it yourself. It's like oh, you said, oh, I'm not even gonna try. It's like you show every little step is motion. It's like no. It's like if you're able to get it, it's like and you're not getting it. It's like maybe you just like so. I've got to be right back. Fresh. Yeah, I'm ending this. I'll be back. Like all, I'll be back. And I'm not putting a time limit on. I'll be back within 10 minutes most likely. I don't. I feel like this. I want to make another video. Get into this serious deep corner. We've been decoding home defense, self-defense, and knife martial arts to some extent in this video. And in the next video, we'll get into Hollywood movies. So.